I hope that you do. Hope you hit that sub button. And if you haven't already voted at the very top of the poll, make sure you do so, because another show that we're going to do today, I'm going to outline all of the Raiders trade candidates, because I know Pete Carroll has said some things that might hint to some people out there that the Raiders could be buyers. I also am going to break down a report from an NFL insider that indicates 2 positions that the Raiders are looking for potentially adding before the deadline. I would be surprised if the Raiders are buyers and not sellers. Do you agree with that statement? If you're sitting there going, yeah, Mitch, I agree with that statement, then I think that when you watch this video, I'm going to outline which players I could see the Raiders trading away on offense and on defense. That's happening all today here on the Raiders Report. But if you want to shout out early on here, give me a yes, give me a no. And the question is simple. Would you trade Maxx Crosby for 2 first-round picks? It is the live poll right now. If you haven't already voted, go up there, click that button. Right now, 39% of the votes are yes. 61% of the votes for no. I don't think anybody up here wants the Raiders to trade Maxx Crosby. I know that. Max, to me, is the definition of a Raider. But also at the exact same time, you got to sit back and you got to go, if 2 first-round picks helped us kind of get this ball rolling in the rebuild, maybe you can wrap your mind around it. Again, nobody's above the shield. We always say that here, but I always want to get the interactions going. I see Tyler Weddle says F no. War Dog says no. We got no from Zalesbo. I'm a Threat says no. Get rid of Gino instead from Carlos Foster. Carlos Foster, Australian for Raider. David, no. Gotta be the owner from Rungman. I mean, right now I'm seeing a lot of no's, but yet 30% of y'all have also voted for yes. So, if you voted yes, I don't want you to be afraid to say yes. If you're saying no, I don't want you to be afraid to say no. Here with the Raiders Report, I hope that we can always have healthy conversations, because you will be a smarter Raider fan watching this show. That I guarantee you. So, what I want to do today, it's something that I do typically a little bit different from other past live shows on Tuesday, because there is so much information out right now on Maxx Crosby. What I wanted to be able to do is I wanted to be able to get into that segment really, really quickly to start this show off. Also, if anybody sees Isaac Hernandez in the chat today, tell him to check his Venmo. I've been trying to get a hold of him all week. Speaking of Venmo, if you guys want to get in a duck race, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. We're going to run that at the very, very end of today's show. But we are going to talk a lot about Crosby today. And if me having conversations that are being had around the NFL upset you, honestly, just don't watch this show today, right? I don't sit up here. I don't make anything up. We're only going to talk about reports. I'm going to give you my opinion. Just because there are reports out there, it does not mean that Maxx Crosby is going to get traded. Tom Downey, our Cowboys host this morning, he reached out to him and he was like, what do you think the percentage chance is that the Raiders trade away Crosby? I told him 1%. And that 1% is like, if Dallas were to be like, hey, do y'all want 4 first-round picks? I think they'd say yes. I'm not going to lie to you. I think then you'd say yes. Obviously, Dallas doesn't have 4 first-rounders. But bottom line, the Raiders are going to be a team that is continuously talked about around the deadline, because they are a 2-5 football team, because their bye week is this week. And that is actually a very, very big part of why there's going to be a lot of conversations around the Raiders potentially being buyers, potentially being sellers at the deadline. So give me a yes, give me a no. Will the Raiders make a trade before the deadline? If you don't know when it is, it's November 4th, 2 weeks from today at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And I am only asking this because of all the conversations we are going to have around trades. I'm telling you this, the next 2 weeks, we're going to talk a lot about trades here, because there's going to be a lot of trade reports. There's going to be a lot of news. There's going to be a lot of rumors, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to talk about it. So yes or no, what do y'all have to say? Victoria B says yes, I hope so from B. Dude, I hope so too. As a Raiders fan in the season that we're kind of dealing with right now, I want excitement, and I just want change. And even if it's change that might not be the change that we want right now, but at least if they had a plan that shows me that we're just not going to sit back and just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, I'm on board with that. I want to see that we're not doing what we should be doing now, and we're at least trying to make some adjustments moving forward. So Luke Nugent says, yes, it's going to be Jakobi Meyers. We will see. We shall see. And, again, I know Jakobi wants to get traded. And I know Jakobi doesn't want to be here anymore. But also it's going to take two to tango. There's multiple teams interested. We'll see what ends up happening, though, with Jakobi Meyers. All right, y'all. Coming up here, let's talk about all of the Maxx Crosby trade rumors because there is a lot of them. There's also a lot of other information that I do think is at least important to know in terms of if the Raiders were to actually move on from him. Let's go right now. Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, we got some of the latest Raiders trade rumors from some of the top NFL insiders out there like Diana Rossini, Jeremy Fowler, Adam Schefter, Trey Wingo, and yes, Ricky Scoops all on top of that today. And you probably have seen the number one thing being talked about around Raider Nation. Apparently the Dallas Cowboys have called the Raiders and are interested in trading for Maxx Crosby. The question is, will Mark Davis actually do it? Here's my question, though, and this is the only thing, quite frankly, I want y'all to answer on today's show. And if I end up asking you something else, you can ignore me. This is what I want you to answer. If the Raiders traded Maxx Crosby, what would you do? I just want to know what you would do. Open-ended question. Let me know down below. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Trey Wingo, and I'm not trying to say Trey Wingo is an NFL insider. What I am trying to say, though, is Trey Wingo does know a lot of people in the NFL industry and does have a lot of sources. And he reported earlier today that according to sources, the Dallas Cowboys have made inquiries with the Raiders about a potential trade for Maxx Crosby. I am somebody y'all are probably going to laugh at me. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Literally, if you didn't see this, also Trey Wingo, ESPN guy, who's one of his big connections, Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter today said, as the NFL trade deadline approaches, 2 weeks from today, the Dallas Cowboys will be a team to watch. If you didn't see the timestamps down there below, they're very, very close. So if I had to guess, Trey heard something from Schefter, Schefter relayed something to Wingo, and I'm relaying it to here on the Raiders Report. But I'll also say this, if there's one guy that you have to be able to give credit to where credit is due, shout out to Ricky Scoops. He literally just came on Twitter, like literally a few minutes ago, and he said, sorry, Cowboys fans, I have been told that the Raiders won't be trading Maxx Crosby before the deadline. And for anybody that's watched this show live, for anybody that's listened to me talk about Crosby, since as long as I've been doing this show, I am not sitting up here saying that Crosby has told me anything in the last 24 hours. What I am saying, though, is I would be absolutely positively shocked if the Raiders traded away Maxx Crosby. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I don't think it's possible this season. Down the road, it's absolutely possible based on his contract. But let's continue to talk, though, about Max. And there are things that are needed to be known if you hear people talk about Maxx Crosby trade rumors. The first thing is the contract details, right? Not only are we potentially trading away one of the best players in the NFL, but you also have to look at that contract. And when the Raiders restructured his contract this offseason, they signed him to that 3-year, $106.5 million extension. But if y'all remember, Crosby front-loaded that bad boy, and that contract was front-loaded to $38 million in year one, $32 million in year two, and then so on and so forth. It ended up going down. The reason why the contract was structured like that was in the event that the Raiders are not a winning football team come 2026, it was mainly made for 2027 based on my sources. If the Raiders are still not winning come year 2027, a Maxx Crosby trade is absolutely positively a potential. And the other reason why I'll say that, look at the guarantees. There's nothing guaranteed. Maxx Crosby did his deal with the Raiders and with Mark Davis saying, I want a lot of money up front, which is exactly what they did. And if we're still not winning by the time I'm 30 years old, I would like an opportunity to go play somewhere else. And that's what that zero guarantee does. It allows you to be able to do it. But here, though, if you're a team that goes out and they trade for Crosby, my guy Tom Downey, he's the one that ended up making this graphic. So that's why you're going to see a lot of the Cowboy stars on there. And on the left, is the overall Crosby contract and essentially how you can look at it and how it can be broken down from guarantees, injury insurance on the right-hand side of your screen. Essentially, if the Raiders were to trade Maxx right now to the Dallas Cowboys, based on some of the numbers, see how Cowboys owe 2025? That number is technically, when you do the math, it's technically somewhere around like $20 million would be this season for Dallas. But the reason why the Crosby deal is so interesting is because you and I know how talented he is. The fact that an NFL team could get a player like Maxx Crosby for less than $32 million per year over 2026 to 2029. When you think about Dallas and they're like, I could have paid Micah Parsons $48 million a year, or I could get Maxx Crosby for $32 million per year. The Maxx Crosby contract is one of the best contracts in the NFL, which makes it a lot easier for Maxx to get traded if he wants to get traded. The only way Maxx is getting dealt right now is if it is a Pete Carroll and John Spytek decision. That I can promise you. Let's go to the next thing here. Let's talk about trade cost, right? Because I'll get people ask me all the time, what would you want in a Maxx Crosby trade? I would want a lot. I'll tell you that right now. So what you are going to see is our guy Tom Downey here at Chat Sports. I asked him, what would you want in a trade for Maxx Crosby? He sent me 3 offers. I'm going to show you the 3 offers from Tom Downey, and then I'm going to show you the offer that I said I think this is what it would cost to get it done. So the Raiders receive a first-round pick, which I'm a little bit disappointed because I wanted 2 first-round picks for Tom. Though he did say we could get 2 second-round picks, a 5th-round pick. The Cowboys end up getting Crosby. Friendly reminder that Dallas, they have 2 first-round picks this season from that trade to Micah Parsons. And that's kind of what I told Tom. I was like, if you're not offering me both those first-rounders, I'm not in love with that deal. Here's the second offer that he sent me. And when he sent me this one, I laughed in his face. I mean, like the video, if you've ever heard me say, hey, they're going to pick up the phone, they're going to laugh in your face. I got no interest in Jalen Tolbert. I got no interest in Sam Williams. I know that the Raiders are apparently looking for a defensive lineman, but let's get one thing straight here. If the Las Vegas Raiders decide to trade away Maxx Crosby, I don't think it's happening. There's less than a 1% chance that it happens. If you do, it is the definition of a full rebuild, and you better get draft picks. I don't want players. I want draft picks in a Maxx Crosby trade. Here is the third idea that Tom threw out, and some of you might laugh at this. Some of you might not. And is there anybody here in the live chat that thinks that this trade looks familiar? If you're sitting at home and you're going like, I feel like I've seen this trade before. This trade is actually the exact same compensation that the Khalil Mack trade went for. So if you're like, oh man, Crosby, Khalil Mack, this is what this deal is here. Tom said this is a bonus one to just really ruffle up some feathers overall. Shout out to Nico Victoria B. Angel in the live chat for getting it right. This was my offer to Tom for Maxx Crosby. And I want to be very, very, very clear on this. I do not want to trade away Maxx. When I sent Tom my trade, it was all around the rumors that Maxx could potentially end up getting dealt. If you were to ask me right now, what do I think it would cost to go get him if the Raiders were actually shopping him with the Dallas Cowboys, I would say it would take both of their first-round picks. Both of their first-round picks, throw in a 4th-round pick because I do think the Raiders then could use that 4th, get another 4th. Maybe they try to trade back up and around 2nd and 3, be a little bit more aggressive. I'm not exactly sure what the entire plan is, but this is what I said I would want as my absolute bare minimum for Maxx Crosby in a trade with the Dallas Cowboys. But I do want to say this over and over and over again because I think like when we talk about 98, when we talk about Maxx, there's, even for here on the Raiders Report, and I think amongst all of Raider Nation, it's kind of like bucketed. It's like Maxx is kind of the one player that nobody can talk bad about. He's the one player that nobody can say anything about. I want to be very, very honest with you. Losing Maxx Crosby would be heartbreaking. Losing Maxx Crosby would be devastating to me. Maxx is the very, very first Raiders player that I ever connected with back to the 2019 Hard Knocks days. That's my guy. He knows it, that I'll always ride and die with him. I met his family. I've met so many people a part of Max's life. But at the exact same time, nobody is above the shield. And if the Raiders are truly going to rebuild, and I mean this, like a true rebuild, the one player that you have to sit back and go, does it make sense? because the guy that you're going to get the most for is number 98. I would be devastated, but I also don't want Raider fans to get mad at the idea because we're just having a conversation. And if we can't have a conversation, quite frankly, I don't want you here anyway. Let's go to the next reason here of what to look for in terms of a Maxx Crosby trade. I'm going to illustrate to you why I think it could happen. Again, I'm not saying that I think it is going to happen. I'm playing devil's advocate here of, well, here's why if a trade actually ended up going down, here's why I think it could happen. Because right now the Raiders are 2-5. And let's face it, they look lost, right? We know they look lost. You know they look lost. Guess who also knows they look lost? 98. And listen to him talk over the past few days. He just sounds defeated. And I sound defeated. You probably sound defeated talking about the Raiders. Quite frankly, if you're not upset about the state of the Raiders, you're not a real one. And quite frankly, you probably shouldn't even be on the team to begin with. But I also know because Max front-loaded this contract, that made it easier for him to be dealt. I think also the other part of the equation here in terms of why he could be traded to Dallas, he went to high school in the DFW area. He also has got family down here in the Dallas area. I have met Mama Crosby. I have met Dad Crosby. I'm going to say Daddy Crosby. Just sounds weird. You know, like I've met his brother. Like I've never met the sister. I've met the Crosby family. They've been nothing but kind to me. They've also been nothing but kind to Raider Nation. Anywhere that I've seen them, they have always shown love to Raider Nation. But at the end of the day, he does have a family, and he's got a young girl. She just turned 3 years old. When we think about other reasons outside of football, having family in this area, you have to be able to sit back and go, all right, that could be maybe that 1% of why he would want to go to Dallas. But based on reports, based on everything I'm hearing, Maxx Crosby's not going to get traded to the Dallas Cowboys. I promise you that. Coming up next here on the show, let's talk about why a Maxx trade wouldn't happen. And again, it's already been reported by Ricky that it's not going to happen. There's still going to be rumors out there. I'm going to continuously talk about anything that ends up coming across my plate because that's what the Raiders report is about. I'm not an insider. I don't want to be an insider. I'm a normal Raider fan that when I hear something interesting, I want to share it with you, right? Just like when you guys are excited about something, you send it to me in my DMs. Why? Because it takes two to tango. We've built an awesome relationship, and I really think that this relationship is a great, great thing. Heck, I would say that it doesn't stink. And if you think that it stinks, maybe you should check out our sponsor here, Mando, because we got the best deodorant out there. Because when I do a show like this, I'm not going to lie to you, I sweat. As soon as I get home, I walk home, I give my wife a hug, and she can instantly tell when I have Mando on and when I don't have Mando on. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers are going to get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. Mando's formulated to stop odor before it starts and doesn't mask odor with overwhelming fragrance, so you can tackle anything from the job site to tailgating with confidence. Don't mask it, Mando it. I'm a man that likes a good deal. Y'all know that. And guess what? Mando Double Protection tackles both odor and sweat. Mando's new deodorant plus sweat control stick gives you double the protection you need. No more worrying about sweat stains or those embarrassing pit rings, just all-day freshness and dryness. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code CHAT, that's CHAT, at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support the Raiders Report. Tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pits. Smell great doing it. And I'm telling you this right now, with all the trade rumors around Maxx Crosby, I'm glad I have my Mando tube. I also am really glad that I got my ball wipes. And if anybody wants to know how they smell, I'll tell you after the show. Let's go to the next thing here of why, or in terms of like, we're talking about the Maxx Crosby trade. The next thing to know is, I think, why it wouldn't happen. And I know that Maxx Crosby wants to win. We all know he's a competitor. He wants to win, no doubt about it. But Maxx Crosby's situation is a lot different than every other player on the Raiders. And I would say there's only maybe 10 players in the NFL that are in the situation that Maxx Crosby is in. And what do I mean by that? I was told a Maxx Crosby trade wouldn't happen until 2026 or 2027 at the earliest. That's based on his contract. But the 10 players that I'm talking about is Max's relationship with Mark Davis cannot be understated enough. I think Maxx Crosby's relationship with Mark Davis is the best player-owner relationship in the NFL that doesn't involve that player being a quarterback. I'm not sitting up here saying that Maxx has told me anything. I'm not sitting up here saying that Mark Davis has told me anything. But you can remember me saying this, and I've been saying it for years because I was told by a good source. Maxx Crosby will have stake. Maxx Crosby will be a part-time owner of the Las Vegas Raiders if he plays his entire career in Vegas. And I think that we always sit up here and we talk about championships. We talk about rings, and I get it. Winning championships, getting a ring, it is, man. It's really, really difficult. And sometimes players, they look at the after-career aspect. I think Alvin Kamara is a perfect example of that right now, where he was like, if you tried to trade me away from the Saints, I would just tell you I'm not going to do that. I'm going to act like I'm hurt. And I'm not saying Maxx is going to do that same thing, but let's be honest with ourselves here. If Maxx Crosby stays in Las Vegas for his entire career, he will make way, way more money after his football career than he ever did as a football player. Think about that for a second. Maxx knows that. And everybody around Maxx knows that. And Max's biggest thing is trying to do right by his friends, trying to do right by his family members. And I know that he does truly want to be a Raider for life. I messaged him this morning. Maxx wants to be a Raider for life. And that's why I don't think that a trade ends up happening. But we do have some more rumors to get into here because, again, it's not only Maxx Crosby that people are talking about today. There was also rumors around Jeremy Fowler. There's also rumors around Dianna Russini. And here's what Jeremy Fowler had to say on the Raiders' trade plans. Teams I've spoken to believe the Raiders are open to trading wide receiver Jakobi Meyers, but are not actively trying to move him. The sense is the Raiders would prefer to play out the season before making major determinations about the roster. But Jakobi requested a trade in the preseason, so a potential deal feels at least on the table. Now, why would the Raiders trade away Jakobi? Because they don't want to pay him, and that he did already request that trade. The Raiders drafted 2 receivers this year, and Jack Besh and Dante Thornton Jr. Jakobi didn't play Week 7 against the Kansas City Chiefs, but very interesting, he is practicing today, right now at the time that I'm making this video. But Jakobi, to me, is the #1 Raiders wide receiver. And when you talk about moving on from Jakobi, you got to look at it on both sides. You got to look at it as why the Raiders would trade him away, and then you also have to look at it as why they wouldn't trade him away. Jakobi is the Raiders' #1 wide receiver, right? And losing him only hurts Geno Smith, and it only hurts Chip Kelly, and it hurts this offense. 2 people that Pete Carroll has invested, quite frankly, his job on the line for. I know Mark Davis today at the owners' meetings or whatever the hell they're at said that he's not going to fire Pete Carroll, and if you thought that Mark Davis was going to fire Pete Carroll this year, you definitely do not watch this show. But at the exact same time, the reason why you don't move on from Jakobi is you're projected to get a 4th-round comp pick for him in next offseason, even if he hits the open market. So I know there's a lot of rumors around it. Jakobi, though, is the one that wants to get traded now. And that's very, very clear based on the people that I talked to. Jakobi does not want to be here anymore. He does want to go somewhere else. And if it was up to him, he would not play another game with the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's go to another report here, though, from Dianna Russini. And the Raiders are open to moving receiver Jakobi Meyers while making calls on defensive linemen and corners. So since Dianna and Jeremy Fowler, and quite frankly, anybody under the sun or anybody that has any sense of the NFL trade market, everybody knows people are talking about Jakobi Meyers. But I did find it interesting that Russini said, according to her sources, the Raiders are reaching out and they are talking and looking for cornerback and defensive lineman. So what I want to know from all of y'all, if we were to make a deal for either a corner or a defensive lineman, and I actually love this question, and I love this question because I think corner is a bigger need. But I think defensive line is where games are won in the trenches. So let me know down below, cornerback, defensive line, what are you thinking? If I had to pick between those 2 positions, I would sit up here and I'd go cornerback. But I'll also say this. I think it's kind of dumb for the Raiders to trade for players right now. We're a 2-5 football team. And you know also why I think it's kind of a dumb idea to trade for a corner? And you know why I think it's kind of dumb to trade for a defensive lineman? Well, first off, You got Darian Porter. I'd love to see him play. And then you got Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Pegues. Instead of going out and trading for a corner and a defensive lineman, why don't you just play the 3 flipping guys that you drafted this past year, John Spytek? If you are looking, though, for cornerbacks, I personally think that there's 2 corners that the Raiders could look at. Obviously, there could end up being more, but to me, there's 2 corners on my radar. Seahawks cornerback Reek Woolen, due to his connections with Pete Carroll, he's been on the market for a long time. There's a lot of conversations around him right now. But another corner that is starting to pick up some steam, Alontae Taylor, and he is somebody that's got a lot of Raiders connections. Reminder, Marcus Robinson, the Raiders, Marcus Robinson, the Raiders cornerback coach. He was in New Orleans last year. Joe Woods, also in New Orleans. They loved Alontae Taylor. And earlier this offseason, this was somebody that we did a lot of conversations about, and the Saints are not playing a very good football. I think that that's somebody the Raiders could look at. In terms of defensive linemen, there are so many different options that the Raiders could go with. And let's be honest, the way that this team is operated, if the Raiders go out and they get a corner or defensive lineman, it's probably going to be some cheap guy, right? It's probably going to be some cheap dude, right? I don't know if it's going to be Kayvon Thibodeaux. Here's what I do know. The New York Giants and the Raiders have had conversations in regards to Jakobi Meyers. I do wonder if instead of that team, both of those teams that value draft compensation, if they were like, all right, we need a number 1 receiver in Jakobi, we'll give you Kayvon Thibodeaux, and we'll just move on because we already have Abdul Carter. We have a lot of other players that we've invested in on that defensive line. Another player that I'll throw out there, Jalen Phillips. And Jalen Phillips is a outside defensive end. He's got some connections to some of the players that we've had on our team, but I also think that he fits this mold of what the Raiders have been looking for and kind of what Pete looks for. Pete's been looking for a player to play the Bruce Irvin rule, a big defensive end, outside linebacker. They tried to use Jermaine Pratt, and it's one of the reasons why Jermaine Pratt wasn't happy because he felt like he was being used in the wrong way. But to me, Jalen Phillips could be somebody to at least keep in mind if the Raiders want to go out and they want to try to get him. But again, to me, if it was up to me, and I'm saying this, if I was the Raiders, I would go, hang on to your draft picks, guys. I don't think we're going to win anything this season. And it sucks to say it, but I really do not think that we're going to win anything this season. There's nothing that would make me happier than Pete Carroll, John Spytek, and this entire regime to be able to prove me wrong. And I see somebody down there going, no to tanking. I hear you, Unknown Raider. I don't want to tank either. But what I at least want is my younger players to start to get some work. And if we're not going to go out and trade for anybody that's actually going to help us win football games, then play Darian Porter more. Then play J.J. Pegues more. Then play Tonka Hemingway a little bit more. Let's get those guys some extra reps. Like, that to me at least makes some sense. And that to me is something that I would at least like to see the Raiders do a little bit more. Hell, play Tyree Wilson at defensive tackle a little bit more. Some other news that did happen, and if you follow me on social media, if you're subscribed to the Raiders Report, you already see that I made a video on this earlier, but I wanted to just keep you up to date in case you didn't see it. Some minor Raiders roster moves, and this is all practice squad stuff. The Raiders signed guard Landon Robinson. He's played with the New England Patriots over the past 2 years. I talked to our Patriots guy, and, quote, he was like, that guy's freaking terrible. So, well, I mean, we'll end up seeing he's a big body guard. Raiders also brought back, shout out, wide receiver DJ Turner to the practice squad, and they moved on from McClendon Curtis and safety JT Woods. That is all the Raiders news. That's all the Raiders trade rumors that I think are the most important things to know from today's program. If you're watching this live, don't go anywhere. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. If you're not watching this live, friendly reminder, we go live every single Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, live on the Raiders Report. Where do you think Jakobi Meyers will finish the season? Type LV for the Raiders. Or if you want to name another team, I want you to name another team because we just got an interesting report here from Ryan McFadden. It said Jakobi Meyers on the trade deadline. Quote, I got no control over that. If I'm here, I'm here. In terms of does he still desire to be traded? This is an exact quote from Jakobi Meyers in terms of does he want to be traded? Oh, for sure. But I'm a professional at the end of the day. I'm just trying to play good football. I respect that answer by Jakobi Meyers. I really, really do. And I think that, you know, him not practicing last week kind of made me be like, holy shit, like, maybe this is a lot worse than what I realized. Like, maybe, there's a lot of rumors going on in that locker room that the team is kind of out on Pete Carroll. The team is out on Chip Kelly. The team is out on this coaching staff. I'm not sitting up here saying it's 100% fact. These are things that I've been told. I've been told by, very credible sources, but at the same time, you always have to respect that Jakobi Meyers has always been a professional, and I do think that last week, I didn't think that even if he was healthy, he would have played. I do wonder if the injuries are the actual reason why he missed, or does he actually just want to be traded and he didn't want to risk it? Because I do think that he is a professional. I also do think, though, that he's going to end up getting dealt. We will see, though. We will see. Dank, what's up, dude? I see Buffalo from RJ
Steelers,
Vam.
Bills, Giants, all
from
on there.
J. Ray. Here's another team, and I'll keep saying it. I feel like I'm the only person on the planet saying it, but I had a really good source tell me last week that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a team sniffing around Jakobi Meyers, and it was because of the Emeka Egbuka hamstring injury. I mean, Emeka, he must have healed really, really quickly, but now with the injury to Mike Evans, he's out 6 to 8 weeks with that broken collarbone. I'm just saying, I think another team to keep in mind with John Spytek's connections is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And I will say, we have a lot of Super Chats lined up, a lot of questions for you, Mitch. So
I think the Patriots are the top team.
If you sent in a Super Chat, please just be a little patient with us. We're going to get through all the Super Chats here on the live show. And if you want to get your question up on the show, today's the show. There's so many people. We got over 1,400 people in the chat right now. It might be you have to Super Chat to get on today's show. So we have a lot of them lined up. I know. Just wait. We're going to answer everybody's Super Chat here on the program. And Chip is putting it out right now, so we're good.
Sweet. Reminder, y'all, if you're trying to get in the duck race, please make sure you're getting it in. $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 is how you're going to be able to get in. I see Weldonator. I see Victor Lobos. I also see Rudy Mendez. You guys are in right now. $20 Venmo for an opportunity to go home with $40. This will get a little bit bigger. Giggity. I guarantee you that. Also, a quick word from the Weldonator. Bang! The MVP from yesterday's show, and he's back.
And
he's back again.
I didn't want to, not to bring down the mood.
Oh, boy.
But I know you're, in a past life, you were the fantasy football guy. You're fantasy football in your blood.
Okay.
And something happened over the past 48 hours, which, I mean, very sad, and I know it'll resonate with you being a fantasy football guy. R.I.P., and I saw it in the chat, R.I.P. to Doug Martin.
Yeah, I mean, we read the story yesterday on the live show. Doug Martin, man, I had him on a few fantasy teams. Former Raider. He did a lot of donating, actually, in the Oakland area. I don't remember what exactly, the donations went to, but I remember Doug Martin coming out of Boise State, the muscle hamster.
Yeah.
And I actually brought his name up a few times in terms of when I was talking about Ashton Jeanty, not in terms of, similar running back, but kind of like, similar styles just in terms of how they would run. Jeanty is much more talented, or had more talent coming out of college, because he's had a lot more talent than a lot of people. But Doug Martin, that one was a wild one to see, and I think, we brought it up yesterday, and I'll say it like this. I don't know what you guys, if you're ever dealing with anything, and again, right, when you're dealing with mental health, it's really hard to probably reach out for help, and it sounds like his family was really trying to reach out for help. But we started talking about it, and I just want to give a huge, huge shout-out to LA Crash Dog and a huge, huge shout-out to 93 Nabman. As soon as I started talking about it, Crash Dog was like, hey, saveawarrior.org. Like, at the end of the day, if you guys are struggling with anything, I hope you can always come to us here on the Raiders Report. I am always humbled that when people share, when they're going through difficult situations. But if you can't talk about it with your friends and family, who can you talk it about with? And even if we've never shaken hands, I hope that y'all know, like, I ride and die with a lot of y'all. I hang out and talk to y'all more than I hang out with a lot of my friends and my family. So, real talk. That was a crazy thing to say, crazy thing to do. But I think everyone that's spamming those RIPs down below, again, man, I hope if you're ever dealing with anything, Don't be afraid to talk to us here. All right, we're going to go through the Super Chats, and we have a lot to be able to get to. Again, friendly reminder that if you want to get to the front of the top of the menu, $100 Super Chat, that's a bang. We put you to the very, very front. If it's not a hundo, we're going to go through it, and I'm going to answer all these questions. Please be patient because we do have 1,400 people here in the building right now, though I do see only 337 likes, and it's
kind of weak.
Let's get those likes up here a little bit. It's weaker than the Texans' offensive line.
Yep.
Too soon?
No, very accurate.
You're like, I wish you could be more critical.
Yeah.
I wish you could be. There was, I'm not going to lie to you, there was a few times last night we just tuned in and we were watching you, and I don't even remember what the one play was, but all I remember is you did this and you didn't say anything. You just, kept going like this. I'm like, I don't know what's happening over there.
I'm just like, bro, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Trade and Mad Max would scream, we don't care about winning from the brass. See, here's the problem. I actually don't know if that's what it says. I think what it says is we are trying to do a clean rebuild. And my problem with this organization right now is I don't know what the plan is. And I don't think fans know what the plan is, right? Because this was a team that did expect to win. And when you look at a lot of the things that they're doing right now, it's the way that they're playing a lot of their young players. They're not playing a lot of these young guys, and they're playing a lot of their older guys, and that's kind of something that you see teams do when you're winning football games. Like, if this Raiders organization said, hey, we're going to fully do the rebuild, like if you were technically going to do that rebuild to the absolute max, you have to entertain the idea of trading Max. And it's not like I'm just going to give them away for anything, but if a team were to say, hey, I'll give you 3 first-round picks, if you're the Raiders with the amount of holes that you have to at least entertain the idea. David Taken, what's up, man? Max for 3 firsts, 2 seconds, and a third, and then it's a maybe. I think the problem is here is like a trade in the middle of the season, this ain't ever going to happen. If Max ends up having a career year and the Raiders win a few extra football games, then sure, you might be able to get something like this, but I think we got to be able to look at recent trades, and you just have to see what players and teams are paying. Now, sure, there might be an example where a team might, overpay a little bit because they really, truly want that guy. But I would say the absolute max that the Raiders get for Mad Max, I'd say is probably like 2 first-round picks, maybe a second-round pick, and then a 4th-round pick. I think that's honestly probably the max that you're going to get. The only way that changes is if a team really looks at that contract and they're like, this is a great deal, which it is. The Maxx Crosby deal over the next 4 years for a team, it's basically $32 million, $30 million, $29, $28. I mean, for a guy like Crosby's caliber, again, that's one of the best contracts in the NFL. What are you going to say to me?
Fun trivia. You want to know the last guess in the chat, the last NFL player to be traded for 3 first-round picks?
The last player to be traded for 3 firsts?
And I'll give you a clue. It was in the draft. They traded 3 first-round picks to move up to select this player.
See, I don't know if I buy into that then. I know exactly who it is, but...
I mean, kind of the same, right?
You're right. You're right. The last, I guess, by that logic, then it's Trey Lance.
Yep.
It was 49ers. They moved up from 12 all the way up to 3 to select Lance. Obviously, that hasn't gone well at all, right? And I know Raider fans, I've been talking about it all day today. Raider fans were like, I don't want to trade Max because we were not able to draft first-round picks. You look at our last 2 first-round picks, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers. I say we did a pretty good job there, right? I know what the old MO has been for the Raiders. At the exact same time, though, if you are really, truly going to rebuild, I think you have to rebuild in the most way possible.
Well, actually, there was one player that was traded for 3 first-round picks after Trey Lance, and it wasn't during the draft. Any guess on who that is?
There was a player for 3 firsts.
3 firsts.
Why am I drawing a blank?
It's a quarterback. Guess it in the comment section if you know it. Last player to be traded for 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, I have no idea. Oh. Yep, I know it now. I saw your grin, and I was really like, all right. It's what, Deshaun?
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, even that, dude, those are 3 disastrous trades.
So
two disastrous trades.
My whole point being, David, I don't think any team is going to, outside of a quarterback, trade 3 first-rounders. I think the most that you'll get is 2 first-rounders for a elite player that's not a quarterback. Like, you look at Jalen Ramsey, all the other guys that have gotten traded, it's always 2 first-round picks unless you're a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like, I think the only way you would ever get 3 first-round picks, if it would have to be a team like, let's just say the Detroit Lions, the Buffalo Bills, and they're like, they lose their best edge. Like, if the Lions lost Aiden Hutchinson again, or if Buffalo were to lose, I don't know, their top edge rusher.
The Rams with Sean McVay, who are just F these picks.
Yeah, I mean, it would literally have to, like, a player would have to go down, I think, on a Super Bowl caliber team in the offseason for a trade like that to happen.
Or like the Eagles, who have all these picks.
True.
But at the same time, it's like, if you're getting 3 first-round picks, more than likely it's going to be a team that's picking in that last 6
Or it's a team like the Dallas Cowboys that just traded away, that got 2 first-rounders for Micah. Like, if Dallas said, hey, I'll give you 2 first-round picks this season and a first-round pick in 2027, hold your ears. Like, you probably take that deal. It sucks, but you probably do if you're the Las Vegas Raiders. Luke, Mitch, I like your shirt. Woodson equals dog. You know what's really sad? I have so many awesome Raiders shirts that I feel like I can't wear. You know what shirt I would love to be able to wear? My Geno Smith double bird shirt. But now I just feel like an absolute loser when I wear it. It's probably my favorite shirt, and I see it all the time in my closet. I'm like, I can't wear this. Nice. Let's go to the next one. Charles Woodson, legend. I'll wear it. Arbone. F no, Mitch. Hey, man, I appreciate you, though, getting your answer in. Really, really, really do. We got hot take. I don't want draft picks because I don't trust management of those picks. I mean, if you're going to trade Max, what do you want? You want a player in return? Like, if we're going to get players in return, I think that's a worse idea because that means you're going to go out and you're going to trade for guys that, what, you're going to have to give them new contracts? Like, to me, I want draft picks. Like, no matter what, you have to trust management, right? Like, no matter what, you have to trust management. If they're going to make that trade, I want draft picks because I want the youngest players possible. That way I can have them for as long as I possibly can on those cheap contracts. Because if you were to trade Max and you were to get players in return from the Dallas Cowboys, who would you want? I mean, I'd probably want Kenny Clark, if I'm being honest. Like, give me a Kenny Clark. Give me I don't know, one of their top corners out there. Can I get a safety? Can I get a few other players? But that's a move that you do if you're trying to win now. If you trade away Max, you're rebuilding, right? Like, what you do in the rebuild, then you got to go and you got to do it in the draft. Mark Bates, what's going on, my brother?
Master.
Say you get, what you say? What?
No, nothing.
Say you get 2 first-round picks for Max. You go in 2026, cutting Geno, and the trade, you have like $150 million and 4 first-rounders. You can hire any coach. And so you get 2 first-round picks for Max. You go into 2026. I don't know where you're getting this other first-rounder, I guess. I mean, we only have 1 first-round pick right now, okay? So you get 2 first-rounders for Max. Now you have 3 first-round picks. And I don't know which team it is. Let's just talk about the Dallas Cowboys here, because when you look at the Cowboys and you look at rankings, you look at overall seeds, if you look at Tankathon, technically the Cowboys right now have picked like 30 and 13. If you're the Raiders, we're probably somewhere in that 6-7 range. So if you're Las Vegas, you got 6-7, pick 13, pick 30, you can kind of get that going. And like you said it, Mark, the problem is Mark Davis ain't going to fire Pete Carroll. Like, that's not going to happen. But the amount of conversations that I've had with people of Mitch, Mike Vrabel didn't want to work here. Ben Johnson didn't want to work here. Why would anybody want to work for the Las Vegas Raiders? I hear it over and over and over again. You know what? Imagine if in that second, third year where they're not going to bring back Pete, if in the year 2027 you trade away Maxx Crosby and I don't know, you got 3 first-round picks to be able to work with. There is a lot of head coaches that would love the opportunity to go get their own quarterback and have all those first-round picks. I think that is an unfortunate conversation, but we had one the other day. Would you trade Maxx Crosby for Sean McVay? I would trade Maxx Crosby for Sean McVay because I do really think when you have a head coach that knows what they're doing and knows how to build a team, that you can get this thing going in the right direction. Young Money, 2 first-rounders and a good O-line player included. But what is the O-line? Like, to me, like, not that we already have O-line. I know that we could use offensive line help, right? At the end of the day, though, like, I want to see them get the most out of JPJ. They're struggling with JPJ right now. Offensive line is a big need, no doubt about it, but I think bigger needs are cornerback. I think bigger needs are linebacker. I think bigger need is a safety. I think a bigger need is defensive line. Like, our offensive line has actually not played as bad as what people have been giving them shit for over the past few weeks. It's the truth. It actually hasn't been nearly as bad as what people think. Santana, we have no choice but to trust this regime. So, yes, you're right. You are 100% right. Pete ain't going anywhere. I think, Chip's got to figure it out. Chip's been really, really bad, no doubt about it.
For Pete's sake.
For Pete's sake, he needs to figure it out. Stabler, we can't be buyers with Pete Carroll as our coach. I think you just got to hope that he can turn it around, right? I mean, there's been a lot of NFL teams that were bad in year 1, and then they figure it out in year 2. They figure it out in year 3. I don't want the Raiders to just blindly fire Pete. I don't think it makes any sense. I know that they're not going to do it, but at the exact same time, he's been bad enough, and this regime has been bad enough to where I don't blame Raider fans for wanting him to get fired. John Rodriguez, you're next up here on the show. Nothing. I'm about the Shield, not a player. Any player, even Crosby. And I'm the same way with you, man. I'm the exact same way with you. I love Mad Max. There's not a person watching this show that doesn't love Maxx Crosby. But if Maxx Crosby was traded, would you go root for the team he was traded to, or would you still root for the Raiders? I hope that the answer is Raiders. I do, because I'm going to be here rooting for the Raiders. I know there'll probably be some people that go out there and watch the game. I'd still root for Max, no doubt about it, but I wouldn't go root for that team. No chance in hell. John Ada, what's up, dude? Raiders without Max is Friday without Ice Cube. All right?
I mean,
I don't get it. Should I get it?
The movie Friday, where him and Chris Tucker, they're like, damn.
Oh, wow. I didn't even.
How you get fired on your off day?
I haven't seen that movie in so long, John, and I'm really sorry. I know the meme. I didn't put 2 to 2 together. That's on me, dude. That's on me, dude. Elias, shout out to you, bro. Threw one up. Brother.
I think it might be Elias.
Elias? Yeah, I can't read. You're like, I'm going to be honest, you're not even close. Why people watch this show, if you're looking for reading analysis, I'm not your guy. Brother.
Elias Tapatio.
Brother, I feel the frustration of the nation. That's weird. Beginning of the year, I bought tickets for Cowgirls and Raiders. I just hope they have a true plan, and next year they turn the franchise around. How Dan Campbell did for the Lions after going 3-13 in year 1. And you're right, and that's kind of the hope that we got to have. And I think if you're a Raiders fan and you don't have help, you're probably not a Raiders fan to begin with. But, I had the conversation with my wife yesterday. I had the conversation yesterday on Monday Night Football when we were live. Like, me right now, I'm kind of battling, do I go hang out with Raider Nation, Raiders, Cowboys, Week 11 Monday Night Football? I've been talking to some people about doing it, and I want to be able to do that. Or do I take the money that I would spend on that trip, and do I go visit my family on Christmas because I haven't seen my family in 3 years on Christmas, right? Like, I hear your frustration. I'm probably going to go visit my family instead of going out there, but
I don't even know what it'll look like.
I have no idea.
At that point in the season.
I don't either. I know it's going to be packed. I know there's going to be a lot of Cowboys fans out there. Like, I know there is. I was talking to our buddy, and he was, like, telling me, and, like, no matter what, I know I would have fun out there, but it's hard for me to justify spending money on anything Raiders compared to my family now.
And we both said it. If I was just a normal Raiders fan out there, like I didn't do this where like we have to do watch parties, no way in hell at this point am I spending a single dollar on a ticket for the rest of this year. Like if you already bought tickets, I get it.
Yeah.
But moving forward, how does any Raider fan go, you know what? I'm going to spend my hard-earned money getting overpriced tickets to a team that puts out a shit effort. Like, you might as well just go watch a middle school game for free.
High school football.
Literally. Yeah. I think I would rather go watch a high school football game than the Raiders right now.
I wouldn't. I agree with that, and it's only because there's no risk. With the Raiders game, there's risk. When you spend that much money, there's risk that when you get done, you're not going to be happy. And that's just how it is, man. Nico Les, the way we drafted first-round guys outside of Genty and Bowers, I'm good. Keep Max. He's our culture, and the only reason a lot of us watch right now. I mean, you're allowed to have that opinion. And I'm not going to rip on anybody for defending Max, because Max is the definition of what I think a Raider really truly is. And I mean it, man. Like, I really think that he is. But at the exact same time, if I told you right now, let's try to think of an analogy, right? Like, if would you trade Maxx Crosby for Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, and a quarterback in the first round? Let's just say it like that. Fernando Mendoza. Genty's pick number 6, which is kind of what we have now.
Honestly,
we got Brock at about 13, which is kind of what that Cowboys deal would be.
The Raiders having a Latino quarterback would low-key be lit.
Oh, bro, Mendoza, I'm so in on Mendoza. But, like, my question to you would be, like, if you're the Raiders and you had that situation, it's hard to say it right now because we don't know exactly what it could look like, but would you trade Maxx Crosby for Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, and you pick any quarterback that you like in this year's draft? You know, like that's kind of hard to say no to. And it's not that I don't love Max. It's 3 players I think that could help us win more football games. And you know, I'm looking at a lot of yeses right now down in that comment section. And it's a tough decision to make. It's not going to be an easy one, no doubt about it.
This one is crazy. How would you do this? 5 first-round picks, but you trade both Maxx Crosby and Brock Bowers.
I don't even think this is possible.
Maybe 3 first-rounders for Max, 2 first-rounders.
This would have to be, a 3-way trade because there's no team that's even close to it.
2 separate trades. You trade Max to one team, get 3 first-rounders. You trade Bowers to another team and get 2 first-rounders.
I actually have a bigger problem with trading Bowers. And I say that because he's in his 2nd year. To me, he's the best tight end in the NFL, and I think that he can be the best tight end in the NFL for the next 10 to 12 years if you can keep him healthy. That's a hell of a deal, man. I mean, 5 first-round picks for those players is a hell of a deal. I actually have a bigger problem, though, with the Brock trade. Rebel, I hate this team. Oh, you know what's fun? I saw this viral video. Yeah. I hate this team. I was born into this, and I'm always a Raider fan, but I hate this team. I'm that Jets fan that went viral regarding Drama Pain. Yeah, I saw that video this morning. I don't know who sent it to me or if it just randomly popped up on my Twitter, but I saw it today and I laughed.
Does everybody want maybe the funniest thing that you'll hear all day? Do y'all want a good laugh? Because earlier today while we were working, obviously we got the bullpen, we got all the different, hosts of the different channels. I shit you not. Our Patriots host, Brett Alper, turned to us with a straight face and said, man, it's been a real tough couple years for the Patriots. Imagine a Patriots fan looking at you and saying, dude, it's been a real tough time supporting my team.
Yeah, it's
like, are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good, dude.
Yeah, it's been a real tough 3 years for the Patriots.
He literally said that, and I don't talk a lot when I'm at work. I really try to focus on what I do. I looked at him, and I was like, shut up. Like, dude, you got to stop.
Just shut your face.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Schefter, Mount Raidermore in the building. Could be worse. We could be a Giants fan. I mean, here's the problem, though.
Much rather have that
I'd much rather have that. Like, in the moment, that loss is probably more painful because you blew an 18-point lead and the Broncos dropped 33 on you. But at least in that game, when you get done watching it, you go, I think Jackson Dart looks like a really good quarterback. I think that we're at least moving in the right direction. I would at least have a team that shows heart and at least, again, you gave up and you blew a big lead. But the way the New York Giants have played over the past few weeks compared to the way the Las Vegas Raiders have played over the last few weeks, I think the only team in a worse situation than the Raiders right now is probably the Tennessee Titans. Like, The Dolphins are down pretty bad right now. I was thinking about our NFL power rankings. The Raiders, I think Tom had it like 29. It's not good right now. And I would rather at least be a team that I think is moving in the right direction and shows hope than a team that looks so lost right now with, I don't know how you fix it, because I don't think the coaches know how to fix it. Let's go to wrong way. If they roll out the same offensive line after the break, there's something seriously wrong with Pete Carroll. Fire all of them. Get loud, Raider Nation. I guess, like, what offensive line would you want them to go with? Like, to me, I think you have to go with Stone Forsythe, Dylan Parham. I obviously would put JPJ at center. They ain't going to do it. Meredith is going to play center. JPJ right guard. DJ Glaze is right tackle. Like, I don't know how you switch up from that offensive line based on the players that you have right now. Like, to me, that is your best offensive line. Those are your 5 best offensive linemen. I don't know who else you would think is better than that. Because I'll tell you this, you got to give credit to Stone Forsythe. He's done a good job. DJ Glaze has been able to show that he can get better and better. But, like, I don't want to see Alex Kappa out there. Caleb Rogers ain't anywhere close. Charles Grant, they say, is not close. So, like, to me, I think the only mixing and matching that you could do is put JPJ at center. And as Pete Carroll has already illustrated to us, he said absolutely not, and I don't know what their vendetta is against JPJ, but I don't know. I think JPJ is going to play guard. That's just kind of how it is, man. Let's go to Rich Wolf. All good, nation. Dubs are back. Go Warriors. Who do the Dubs have tonight? Chug's actually going to be live on our Texans channel for the Rockets game.
Rockets Thunder is the first game, and then I believe it's Lakers versus Dubs.
Are you already scheduled?
Yeah.
Why don't you put that video or that link here so as soon as this ends, they can just go over there?
Yeah, it's Rockets Thunder, and then it's Warriors Lakers.
All right.
So if y'all want to check out my stream later on, I'll put it in again also, like right before we end.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
But here's my stream tonight for Rockets Thunder. If y'all are trying to check that out, I'll be live right after we get off here. That game's at 6:30, and then right afterwards we do have our Warriors guy Smitty. He's going live for Lakers Warriors as well. So we'll have both of the NBA games on tonight here at Chat Sports for you. Which one are you more excited to see? Type 1 for Rockets Thunder, type 2 for Lakers Dubs. I think we'll get a lot of 2s.
I think we're going to get a lot of 2s, but the answer for me is 1. The answer for me is 1. For you, for one reason. Cullen, he took a half day today. He's driving all the way up to the game. He had his Thunder stuff on, super fired up to be able to watch the banner. And what? I mean, you got KD going back to OKC.
Yeah, first game of the NBA regular season. We've got,
like, I'll also say this. If you had to pick an NBA champion out of the Rockets, Thunder, Lakers, and Warriors.
Honestly,
if you had to rank, if we did Tuna's top 4, if you had to rank those 4 teams most likely to win in the NBA, I think Thunder and Rockets are 1-2.
Yeah, I go Thunder, Rockets, Warriors, Lakers. I just don't believe in the LeBron's still amazing, but slowly he's declining, even though he seems like he's, got the fountain of youth. Call me crazy, but I still think Curry's got one more, magical run in him.
Yeah.
Curry's the best shooter I've ever seen, and it's not even close. He is, you'll talk about the GOAT, you'll talk about this, that, and the other.
You're right.
Steph Curry is the best shooter the NBA has ever seen, and I don't think it's even close.
Oh, I agree with you. I think when you talk about sports and sports debates, there's not many sports debates where I think there's a consensus, right? Like, if you were to ask most people who's the greatest basketball player of all time, I still think people would say Michael Jordan, but you're going to get hit with some arguments here and there. I think if you were to ask, again, now I'm talking like people that just know basketball, NBA. If you were to ask them who's the greatest shooter of all time, I think 100 out of 100 people say Steph Curry.
I agree.
And if you don't, you don't know ball. And I don't even know ball, but I know it's Steph. Blake, Mitch, want to ask a fun question. Blake was hitting me with some fun ones yesterday. Who's the better manipulator? Darth Maul during the Clone Wars series or Walter White from Breaking Bad. Go Raiders.
I don't think Mitch is a Star Wars guy.
Yeah, I've never seen Star Wars, Blake. So that's one for me. So I'm going to go with Walter White. And I don't know. I think you're just asking me this because yesterday Reed dressed up as Walter White and I dressed up as Walter White. I was Walter White for a period of time rapping like Drake. If you want to see that, it's on the Raiders Report. That's why you should tune in to Monday Night Football. What up, Mike? Can we trade Pete Carroll for Sean McVay?
I asked this to Mitch. Would you trade 3 first-round picks for Sean McVay? Why for yes and for no? If the Rams came to you and said, you know what, we'll trade you Sean McVay, you'll have him for the next at least 6 years. 6-year contract, he'll do the whole thing. 3 first-rounders, would you do it? Why for yes and for no?
The reason why I say yes, and I know some of you are going to be like, oh, my God. Sean McVay, I think, is a top 5 NFL coach. He's a young guy, so I think we'd have him for a long time. The other reason why I would do it, Sean McVay won a Super Bowl. The Rams have been one of the most winningest teams since he's taken over, and I believe he's only drafted 1 player in the first round since 2016.
I think the first one was their edge rusher they have.
Jared Verse.
Yeah.
And they wanted Brock Bowers. If you look at a lot of the things, they were going to trade up for Bowers, and then the Raiders took him. Yep. Brian Hinkle, what do you think about George Pickens, first and a second next year? I'm not a fan of Pickens, but he is talented. I think if you traded away a guy like Maxx Crosby and the player that you got in return for that trade was George Pickens, I think that is the definition of stupidity. And I only say that because if you trade away Maxx Crosby, you're trading away the face of your franchise. And if you're going to trade away your face of your franchise, to me, it's got to be draft picks, and one of those draft picks has to be your new face of your franchise. Yes, this could be a first, second, sure, all good in the hood, but you're going to bring George Pickens, I would say the biggest cancer diva wide receiver out there, bigger than Devontae Adams, to a team that's this bad right now. Like, I'll tell you that. I think if you did this trade, George Pickens would demand a trade out of here. If you want my God-honest opinion, I think George Pickens on this Raiders team would turn into Deonta Johnson so quickly it would blow your mind. Like, you wouldn't want it. I think it would be like the Amari Cooper situation all over again. So, I'm not a fan of Pickens. It's a hard pass for me. I said it earlier in the offseason. Like, people were like, oh, would you trade Pickens? Like, would you want Pickens for a 6th-round pick? This is the hard problem. Like, you give me a motivated George Pickens, great football player. George Pickens on this Raiders team, not a chance in hell. KG, shout out to you, bro. Stabler for president. Time to strike while the iron is hot. Trade Maxx. The iron's not hot, no. Like, if you're going to trade Maxx, like right now it's a yard sale. I don't want Maxx on a yard sale. I want Maxx Crosby at the most highest value possible. And trading somebody right now during the NFL trade deadline when you're kind of down and bad right now, I'm telling you, teams right now, they're swarming around you because they can smell blood in the water. Also, the iron is not hot. I think the lowest value you would get is right now.
We saw that tweet from Ricky. We also are getting this from a Cowboys insider. He works for one of the radio stations here in Dallas. His name is Brian Broaddus. He's had this to say. Former scout for the Cowboys. He's very well connected.
Yeah, Anthony, I'm not saying Maxx is a yard sale. I'm saying right now the Raiders trading away guys would be a yard sale.
He said this based on the Wingo report around Crosby. He said, on the Cowboys end of it, this appears to be news to them. I think they're interested in trade opportunities, but right now I think Wingo is reporting more from the Raiders into things rather than the Cowboys into things.
I mean,
that's what he said as a Cowboys insider.
That's fine. Again, based on what I have been told, now Maxx is not practicing today, and some people might hit the panic button on that. But based on what I'm hearing, it's not if the Raiders trade Maxx away, I think it's very similar to the Khalil Mack deal where it's not a Khalil Mack thing. It was the organization. It was a Mayock. It was a Gruden thing. And I think if it did honestly happen, it would come from Spytek and it would come from Pete Carroll. But I also know that like Pete and John don't want to trade Maxx away. So like, maybe the beat reporters didn't hear anything about it. I don't believe them though. Again, they're all opinion pieces. Jeremiah, Gruden for OC, fire Chip, keep JPJ, and Crosby. I think it's cute that you think John Gruden would come here to be an OC. I mean, would you come to do a job that you got fired to do and now be a lesser job in that? Like, I think the only way that would happen is if they were like, all right, if you can get this team back on track with Pete Carroll in the next 3 to 4 years, we'll bring you back as the head coach. But guess what? Then you got to give him a brand new deal again. Daniel, any truth to the rumors that Max started following multiple Dallas Cowboys players recently? I don't know how recent, but we also have to look at Max's friends with a lot of Cowboys players. I mean, guys, he is from the DFW area. His family is down here right now. I know Max knows multiple guys down here, and maybe he's following some players randomly, but at the exact same time, I'm not buying any of the Maxx Crosby to the Cowboys hype. I'm really not doing it because I know how the media works. Think about the media, right? The media loves to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And everybody is reporting that it's not going to happen. Everything that I'm hearing is it's not going to happen. And Max wants to stay a Raider. So, no, I'm not going to put any life to that. I mean, again, though, like Max is also like, I know Micah isn't there anymore, but Max and Micah were like really, really good friends. And because of that, Max was able to work out with a lot of Cowboys players because they used to work out together. And like that was a big part of also why he probably followed a lot of guys from the Cowboys. I would bring back John Gruden. I would not. But again, I think people are entitled to their own opinion. And KG, if you want to bring him back, you are more than able to do that. I want a young, innovative head coach. That's what I want. Elias, really considering to resell tickets and go to the World Series. No joke. Go Dodgers. I mean, I've been kind of sitting up here wondering, like, if I want to go live for Dodgers games, and, you know, I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday on the show when I went live for Monday Night Football. We went live for Game 7 of the ALCS, which crazy, crazy game that was. Congratulations to the Blue Jays. I think this World Series is going to be a hell of a World Series, which actually, if you guys want to let me know who you got in the World Series, Dodgers or the Toronto Blue Jays, I would actually definitely appreciate that. Let me know down below who you guys got in that one. What?
Have you seen this Russ Wilson tweet?
No.
So, Sean Payton, after the Giants game, said he actually spoke with Giants owner John Mara and was hoping they would turn to Jackson Dart once their game has passed. And he said he had really high praise for Dart, also throwing a little shade at Russell Wilson. And then Russ tweeted out, classless but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15-plus years later through the media.
Wow.
1-0, bitch. 1-0.
What in response?
Dude. Rough and rowdy. Can we get Russ versus Sean Payton?
Bro, that's pretty wild, man.
Dude.
What?
That's just them two going at it.
I kind of like it. Blinky! I think we should get Gruden back as a head coach as long as he doesn't draft or coach. There you go, Blink. I mean, we're already paying him, right? We're already paying him. Ooh,
Anant?
Anant?
Vinjamori.
Is it worse being a Bills fan? No. My bro is one. Living through 4 Super Bowl losses, 20 years, no playoffs, and now 13 seconds in losing to the Chiefs 4 times. With all due respect, I don't feel bad for any Buffalo Bill fan, and I don't think any Raider fan should feel bad for any, like, the Raiders and Browns, I think, are the only two. Raiders, Browns, Jets, Giants, I think you can make an argument. I would say those are the 4 most losingest teams over the last 20 years. And quite frankly, I actually don't even know if it's all that close. I mean, I always have love and respect for Bills Mafia because I do know that fan base is a diehard fan base. I really, truly do. But the Bills are 4-2 right now, and they have Josh Allen. So, no. I don't feel bad for the Buffalo Bills. What up, Raider Rick? Meredith left guard, JPJ center, Parham right guard, all you can do. Rick, I agree with you, man. Right? I think the hardest part about this season is I just disagree with so many things that this coaching staff is doing. And I think it's pretty obvious things that they're doing wrong. but they've already made it very obvious to us. They don't care about our opinion. They're going to do what they think is right, and that's all they care about. Stabler, if Pete rolls out Kappa after the bye, I'll be writing a strongly worded letter.
Love to see that. Send it to us first.
I was going to say, if you want to send it to me, I'd love to be able to read it. And you're not going to be the only one. If JPJ doesn't start for the Raiders coming out of that bye, I'm going to lose my flipping mind. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. Killer Dragon, as of right now, what quarterback in college football seems good? I mean, the kid that I'm really starting to fall in love with more and more is Mendoza from Indiana. I mean, that guy's got a laser beam of an arm, big, prototypical pro-style quarterback. He's always looks cool, calm, and collected, and you have to be able to respect what he's doing. And the other reason why I will say Mendoza is because you got to think about Tom Brady. And Brady, in his book that he put out there of like, even Spytek, the book he put out, about what it is about being a Michigan man. And Brady always talks about, the importance of being able to learn a system, building a culture, building and just being that leader. I think because of everything that the Indiana program has turned into with Cignetti and everything that Mendoza has turned into and everything that he has done for that program, if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm sitting back and I'm going like, not saying like if you can do it with Indiana, you can do it with the Raiders, but you have to be like, maybe that's just that little bit of cherry on top. Because, again, if you can do it at a small school like Indiana and you can get better and better and better, build that program, and just kind of know what it takes to be a part of a program that's never been a winning program and now turning it into a winning program, I mean, it's exactly what the Raiders need to do. And it's why, like, I find myself, I'm not going to lie to you, I feel like I watch Mendoza a lot, and I am really liking what I'm seeing right now. Roy Raider, hey, Chugs, does KD play more than 50% of his games this season? Go Spurs.
Hope so.
I mean, there's the reason why I hate the NBA and I don't watch basketball. I already saw one like head coach was like, yeah, he's not playing tonight because of load management, and the season hasn't even started yet. And he's like, no, he's not injured. It's load management. I heard the guys talking about it earlier. Like, load management, we haven't even started the season yet. Basketball to me, NBA, I think it's a joke. Preston, what do you think about Diego Pavia? Diego. Really fun story.
San Diego.
Yeah, again. He kind of reminds me of, like, the knockoff version of Johnny Manziel. I don't know. I mean, he's done a lot of good stuff at Vanderbilt. We also got to be able to give Vanderbilt a lot of credit because that's a team that used to be a pushover in the SEC, and they've done a lot of good, bringing some great players in there. But Diego, I think my favorite story about him this year was, who's that comedian that tried to, like, go out with his mom?
Oh, Theo Vaughn.
That was a hell of a story. But, like, to me, there's certain guys that are just good college quarterbacks. He's a good college quarterback. Yes. I don't think he has the talent to play in the NFL. Do you see the Jakobi Meyers comments? Yes. And again, like, I don't blame him. Like, he is a professional. He's a true pro's pro. But at the same time, he requested a trade for a reason. He wants to be traded. He doesn't want to be a part of this organization anymore. But he doesn't want to be a part of this organization anymore because the Raiders have made it clear to him that they don't want him to be a part of this organization for the long term. So it's like, people can get mad at Jakobi Meyers, but would you get mad if you were in his situation, you were like, you got down on a knee, essentially. You're like, I would love for you to give me a contract extension. I want to be a Raider for life. Will you marry me? And they go, no. All right, well, then you're kind of like, well, that kind of sucks a little bit.
But also, we're still in an 8-month lease together, so.
I want to stay with you.
Yeah.
But now she wants to move out, and you're like, no. Like, I don't blame Jakobi for handling anything he's done. He's handled it as a true professional.
And the Giants just released that kicker that missed the extra point yesterday.
Nuh-uh. Jude.
Hey, Jude.
Goodbye, Jude. Blake, Mitch, and Chugs. My wife is a Saints fan, and the only thing she loves about the Raiders is you guys. Question mark. Next time y'all are around 337, beer and crawfish on me.
Blake, hell yeah. Also, Blake, I need your help. I want to get the best muffalata in New Orleans, in Louisiana. Let me know if you know where to go. I'm a big I've been on a muffalata kick.
A muffalata is a good scent. Now,
Dude.
I don't love olives.
But in the tapenade?
I know. I don't love olives. So olives sometimes on a sandwich can be a little overpowering for me. But I've never been to New Orleans.
Me neither.
It's a place I really, really want to go to.
I take that back.
I'm a slut for a good po' boy.
I've been to New Orleans once, but it was through a road trip, so we only stayed for like a day and a half. So I don't know if that necessarily counts. We went on Bourbon Street. We went to a nice restaurant. It was bomb. They call them barbecue shrimp there, but it's not barbecue.
I mean, if you've been there, like to me, like that does sound like you've been there. Like I thought you were about to hit me with. I had a layover in New Orleans once.
No, we stayed for like 48 hours.
I'd say you've been there.
It was cool.
I've never been, but I would love to be able to go, man. Jersey boy, what's up, brother? 2 firsts and Diggs for Max. Get Mendoza and Spencer Fano in the first. Get Mendoza's wide receiver Elijah Surratt in the second. I mean, are you saying Trevon Diggs?
That's my guy.
Who?
Elijah Surratt. That's the number 13 receiver for Indiana.
Okay.
That's Mendoza's like go-to guy. Bro, he's insane. He might be better than Mendoza. I think he should be a first-round pick.
Interesting.
Dude, he's so good.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't find myself watching anything else besides I watch Mendoza. I mean, I told you the other day, I watched him. I was like, I don't know if he threw an incomplete pass. And then somebody was like, yeah, he was 24, 28. I was like, all right, that kind of checks out. Yeah, I mean, sometimes like when I really, truly try to just watch these guys, I don't pay attention to anything else around you. I talked to Tom about players that, could get traded away. Tom literally was like, I'll give you Trevon Diggs. It wouldn't even be difficult to get him. But he's also an older cornerback, and you'd have to pay him. And he's very, very injury prone. Like, I don't want Trevon Diggs. Now, if you could guarantee me he's healthy, sure. But he's also, I don't think it's a good move for the Raiders.
What team would benefit the most if they traded for Max? I think the Cowboys. They don't have any edge rush. They don't have any defensive line. They have a top 5 offense. I think them.
I mean,
what other team needs an edge rusher?
To be very, very honest, I think the team that benefits the most from Maxx Crosby is the Buffalo Bills. And I only say that because the Bills' defense the past 2 weeks has been really bad. And if you want to beat Patrick Mahomes the way Kansas City's playing right now, you're going to have to find ways to get more help on defense. And Maxx Crosby would be the guy to do it. And I only say the Bills because if we're talking about benefit, the benefit of going out and trading for Maxx Crosby, for any team out there, you trade for Mad Max, there's one thing in mind, Super Bowl. And if you're the Bills, what's been stopping you? Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think the Ravens are going to get there. They're just too banged up right now. So I'll say Buffalo. And I think that's the answer. I think it's the Buffalo Bills. What up, Ray? Javone, hot take. I'd take Dante Moore over Mendoza. I'm not with the Mendoza hype.
I like Dante Moore, too. I think Mendoza definitely is a different style of quarterback, and I know a lot of people, because he's 6'4" and he's white, they're going to be like, oh, he can't move, he's a statue. I don't think that's the case. I think he's not like a mobile guy, but he gives me more of like a Joe Burrow vibe of like, yes, he's not mobile, but he can move, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Dante Moore, I like what I've seen from him, but also Mendoza, we saw him last year at Cal, and he played well, and then in Indiana. This is the first year we've seen Dante Moore, so I'd like to see him do it for another season in college football. You're going to have to, obviously. He's not eligible for the draft this year. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 2027. Yeah. I think Moore, and I think CJ Carr is another name that I've already had sources tell me CJ Carr is somebody that is on the Raiders' radar.
And that guy Ryan says, I meant what was the best offer the Raiders if they traded for Max? What would be the best offer is what he meant.
Oh, the best offer. I don't think you're going to get 3 first-round picks. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to happen. I'll say 2 firsts and like a third.
Oh, wow. In this super chat, if Shedeur has to be released by Cleveland, would you take a flyer and then get Coach Prime? Hell no.
I think the other reason why you can't get Coach Prime, and the God-honest answer, is his health. Prime's been hasn't he been dealing with some health issues? So, sorry, you looked at me like, bro, you're crazy right now. I think Dion he's a great story. He would bring a lot of eyeballs to Mark Davis, no doubt about it. But
it's like he hasn't even won in college.
That's the thing.
Like you're telling me, oh, let's get a guy who wasn't successful in college, and maybe he'll be successful in the NFL. Like that makes no sense.
Like he has had success. But for somebody to go from college to the NFL, like you want to hire a Cignetti, right? Like the Indiana coach, like that would be somebody that I would look at and go, that's somebody I want to bring in.
I feel like this is like, have you ever seen Shark Tank?
Yeah.
I feel like that's whenever they're like, oh, yep, we're asking for $500,000 for 5% stake in our company. And they're like, oh, how many sales do you have? And they're like, we sold $1,000.
You haven't sold anything.
Yeah, it's like, so why?
Yeah, and again, like if Shedeur asks to be released by Cleveland, I know we keep saying it over and over again, but the Raiders have absolutely no interest in Shedeur Sanders. And everything that they've done this entire offseason has been proof of that. And Tom Brady don't want him. The Raiders don't want him.
Also,
Pete Carroll don't want him. Like, Shedeur, I think the only way Shedeur is a Raider is if Shedeur says, I want to be released by the Cleveland Browns, and the only team that I want to go play for is the Las Vegas Raiders.
Also, arguably,
I don't think there's any other way.
I think it might be better to be a college football coach than an NFL coach right now.
Completely agree. In the state of college football, where, I mean, look at Franklin, $50 million buyout. Now he can go anywhere he wants, just made all that money. And in college football, to be honest, like I think it's more about the head coach and the name value than it is in the NFL. Like the NFL, I think honestly, coaches in college are glorified way, way more than they are in the NFL. I actually think that. I actually think that. Now again, there's certain programs, certain things here and there, but I would love to be a college football coach. Guts, if we keep losing after the bye, can you do some shows based on around incoming college talent, mocks earlier than usual? I'd make the season more bearable. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I think it's like anything. The moment I start, I got to keep doing it. So until we're at that point where I absolutely positively, I just don't want to do it yet, right? I mean, in my mind, I'm like, it's October. The NFL trade deadline hasn't even happened yet. The date that I have kind of set myself up for in my own mind of when I would do this would be after the Raiders Monday Night Football game against the Dallas Cowboys. And to me, that's just kind of the benchmark that I have set in my mind of if we're still, again, just not even close after that football game, and by that point we would literally be mathematically eliminated, then I will start doing some of that stuff. But I got a bunch of segments that I have planned where I want to do like a rebuild segment every single week. Max for Joey Bosa in a first. Terrible idea. I'm not going to lie to you, man. That's a horrible trade for
Nico,
the Raiders.
I'll raise up my house. Little cheers for this one, Mitch.
I mean, you know, I know how upset you were the other day. I actually got to go get more water. I'm out. What's crazy is the Texans' offense is way better than the Raiders. It is. Here's the thing, dude. You can't tell me it's not. You can't.
And
like, as frustrating as what that game was last night, I hear you loud and clear. But you can't tell me you would rather have the Raiders' situation on offense than the Texans.
Yeah.
The Texans' offensive line's way worse than the Raiders. Like, I think if Houston just figured out their O-line, I think that they would solve a lot of issues, and I think they would solve their biggest issue. Scared C.J. Stroud.
Why don't y'all just trade us all your linemen and then...
I mean, I said it today jokingly to Chugs. I go, if I was the Houston Texans, I'd call up the Raiders right now, and I'd say, what do you want for JPJ? Let's do it. If I was an NFL team out there, I would call up the Raiders and say, what do you want for JPJ?
Would we just simulcast our live?
I don't know if I'd be able to handle you. I'd be angry if we traded away Jackson Powers Johnson.
What if it was for a second, though?
I mean, we're not getting a second-round pick for JPJ.
No, you won't.
I'd say you'd probably get, right now, a fifth. I think right now you get probably a fifth-round pick for JPJ, which is not even close to the value that I'd want. All right, y'all, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go take a quick pee. We're getting ready to get into the next segment here on the show, and it's going to be around some NFL news that happened. I actually spoke about it a little bit yesterday on the program, but I do think that this is going to be something like there's going to be some NFL news that happens technically tomorrow that I do think could impact the Las Vegas Raiders, and I want to be able to talk about it here a little bit. Anthony says, no way, Mitch, at least a third. You're not getting a third for JPJ right now. I know what we value him, but other NFL teams would look at the Raiders and they would go, isn't this a guy that you've benched? Isn't this a guy that you've not started every game? Like, they know that they don't like him. So why would they give up a lot for somebody that they know the Raiders don't like? Again, I know what his value is. Fortunately, though, the Raiders do not.
Mitch is going to use the restroom really quickly, and then we're going to get into our next segment. But before that, the World Series is set. Blue Jays versus the Dodgers. Who you got? Type B for the Blue Jays, type D for the Dodgers. Let me know down in the comments section as the Dodgers look to repeat, go back-to-back. I can't remember the last baseball team to go back-to-back. Let's see, last back-to-back World Series champions. Wow. Any guess on the last repeat World Series champions? Maybe a simple answer for a lot of y'all baseball fans out there. Could they be the first team to go Drake style? Got the drink in me going back to back. Hey, I'm going back to back. It's not the Astros. It is the Stankies. Yep. Mixmaster Mike. It was the Stankies. 99 and Y2K. B. Swindy says, Giants fans, so go Blue Jays. Got a lot of Dodgers. A lot of Dodgers in the chat. Chugs, if the Dodgers lose, they need to be demoted. They got to the World Series back-to-back years. It's the Kendrick versus Drake World Series from Nico Laz. Is Drake even a Blue Jays fan? Rebel says, Coop check. Go Dodgers from Rustin Long. Josh says, give me the BJ. Blue Jays were back-to-back in 92 and 93. Let's see if Mitch knows. He's a baseball guy. Mitch, last team to go back-to-back World Series champs. Any guess?
Last team to go back-to-back. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's the Yankees. They haven't won in a while. Is it AL or NL?
AL.
Honestly, I have no idea.
The Yankees.
Oh, is it the Yankees?
99 and 2000.
I was gonna, because that's when they beat the Mets in the Subway Series that year. I was gonna say, has it really been that long? I mean, gun to my head, I would have said Yankees. I know the Blue Jays haven't been to the World Series since 1993. We were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, I would have sworn there would have been another back-to-back World Series winner, but the Astros, they won 2 World Series. They were not back-to-back. They were in at least 17 and 21.
I mean, again, I love baseball. I don't follow it as close. I don't even follow it even close the way I do football. I might even argue I might follow sometimes like college football closer than I do the pros. Now, playoff baseball, yeah, I'm there. I think playoff baseball is one of the best things in all of sports.
Playoffs?
I honestly wish the MLB would do fewer games in the regular season to just make the games mean a little bit more. All right, next thing we're going to do here is we're going to get into a segment, and the segment is going to be around some NFL news. Though before we get into it, I sent you a message. If you could check that for me. Rustin Long, you, sir, are in the duck race. Right now it's a $20 Venmo. You'd have the opportunity to go home with $70. We're going to run this 50-50 raffle. We are going to do this duck race at the very end of the season. If you want to just hover over that with your camera, send me the 20. You can add me as a friend. Mitchell Renz 365. If you don't know what our duck races 50-50 are, I promise you this. You're going to want to get in them. We do a bunch of them all year long. I'll tell you this, man. I've seen some runs in my day. In the last 24 hours, the guy that is on the hottest of hot streaks here on the Raiders Report This guy's on a heater right now. The Weldinator! Bang! Deep fly ball, center field. 3-run homer, George Springer. Not quite center field. That ball was crushed. The ball was absolutely crushed. Who, Springer? I mean, I respect George Springer. And again, like to me, like you gotta recognize when somebody's just that talented. Also, I will have an updated list of the Raiders' October bang race. And I'm telling you this right now, Weldinator, you are really, really working up there. I haven't done the numbers since last Tuesday, so I'm pretty far off here, but I think you're probably in the top 5 right now. If you're not in the top 5, you're very, very close with all the banging you've been doing over the last 24 hours, dude. Raider Mitch, how could you respect the cheater? I mean, I know at one point probably in baseball, the whole banging the garbage can thing. I'll also say this, from playing in semi-pro ball, college baseball, when I would talk to a lot of hitters, there was a lot of guys that I talked to that, like, they didn't want to know what pitch was coming. Like, they said, like, I don't want to know what pitch in case, they got crossed up or whatever. So, like, to me, like, yes, it was bad. I get it. But they're not cheating anymore. And George Springer, there's a reason why he's hit, 23 postseason home runs. He's probably top 4 all time in being able to do it. So, I love good baseball. I love clutch hitting, and I think that's exactly what George Springer has done. He's very, very clutch, man. And one swing of a game, it could change quickly. One swing of a game, man, it could change quickly. Why did you stop playing semi-pro, Mitch?
Also, if we're going to be honest, the way the Dodgers
to keep playing.
The way the Dodgers do their contracts, that's a bigger cheat job than what the Astros ever did. You're paying guys in 2040 for contracts they're doing right now. If you're talking about cheating and you're a Dodgers fan, I don't want to hear it. What y'all are doing is absolutely bending the rules more than anybody that's ever done it in terms of contracts in baseball. You're the reason why there's going to be a holdout next year in baseball, because everybody's pissed off that the Dodgers are cheating to basically get there. So if you're a Dodgers fan, you're getting mad at that, I don't want to hear it.
Giuseppe, you're in the duck race. I do agree that Major League Baseball's got to be able to figure out something. And that's even come from me, right? A Mets fan, a guy that the Mets spent all this money. I mean, Juan Soto's contract, the problem with baseball is Juan Soto's contract is more money than what the Mariners have paid their roster the last 30 years. And that's you got to figure that out.
We're not going to have baseball next year because of what the Dodgers have done with their contracts. The CBA is not going to get signed.
You really don't think it's going to happen?
I think there will be a holdout. Everybody that reports around the MLB has said, get ready for a holdout. We're probably not going to have a 162-game season next year.
Good. I hope we don't. Oh, man. All right, y'all. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to get into the next segment on today's show. Jim Brown,
Frank, all I got to say is what happened the last time the Astros and Dodgers played in the World Series? Go look up the highlights.
Jim Brown, you in. Giuseppe, you in. $20 Venmo for a chance to win $90 here on the Raiders Report. Shout out to today's MVP so far, the Weldinator. This guy's been on a flippin' tear. This guy's been on an absolute legendary run. Weldinator, since you hit the gong yesterday and you've been going crazy this entire week, if there's a certain beer that you want me to get for our Thursday night football show this week, you let me know. Just send me a message in our Venmo transactions if there's a certain beer you want me to get, because I know you've been asking me to do a boot. If you send in one more Venmo bang today, Weldinator, you pick the beer, and I'll start off Thursday night football with whatever boot of a beer you want. It's got to be a beer that I can get at a beer distributor. I typically go to a Total Wine, or I can go to a Specs if you want to look at the options there. I mean, my problem is I don't know who I want to win the World Series, because there's a part of me where I'm like, I want the Blue Jays to win, because I don't really want the Dodgers to win, because they won it last year and they spent a lot of money, and right now the Dodgers are Right now the Dodgers, I hate to say, they're kind of like the Chiefs. They kind of are, right? I mean, it's just let's call it how it is. But at the same time, do you look at it as like America versus Canada? Because I saw a lot of people. I know you shake your head. I saw a lot of people yesterday saying it, which I was like, all right, it is what it is, huh? Oh Canada, oh Canada, oh Canada. All right, y'all. Yoda Jenkins, Raiders Report. You've been welded. I have been welded, no doubt about it. What? Touche. All right, y'all. Let's talk about some of this NFL news that I believe could potentially impact the Las Vegas Raiders. And I just want to get to my spot. It's what? We're prize picks from here on out, right? Okay, sounds good. Coming up, let's talk about this NFL news that could impact the Raiders. Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, there was some NFL news that ended up going down that I believe could impact the Las Vegas Raiders, and I actually think that it could potentially impact a potential Jakobi Meyers trade. If you don't know who I am, I'm Mitchell Renz. I'm the host of the Raiders Report. And if you want free videos every single day, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So the news ended up dropping on Monday when we were live for Monday Night Football. Adam Schefter reported that veteran wide receiver Tyler Lockett has asked for and received his release from the Tennessee Titans per source. The reason why I'm talking about this today is because Lockett is expected to be free to sign with another team after 4 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. And as soon as I saw the news that Lockett was released, the amount of people that hit me up at Mitchell Renz 365 saying, Mitch, does it make sense for the Raiders to go out and get him? Could the Silver and Black go out and sign him? I was like, all right, I'll end up doing the video. Let's talk about it. So here's why the Lockett news, though, impacts the Las Vegas Raiders. The most obvious of all obvious reasons, the Pete Carroll connection. Pete Carroll has made it very, very clear to Raider Nation. Pete Carroll has made it very, very clear to the entire NFL. If you have a relationship with Pete Carroll, if there is a coaching connection that connects you with anybody from this organization, this team is going to be listening. Am I necessarily sitting up here saying that I think that the Raiders are going to be all in on Tyler Lockett? No. But do I think that the Raiders could be interested in Tyler Lockett? Yes, I definitely do. He was selected in round 3 of the 2015 NFL Draft by Pete and the Seattle Seahawks. He played underneath Pete Carroll in Seattle from 2015 to 2023. And Lockett and Carroll, I don't think people get it. They have such a good relationship, right? Like, Pete talked about it the year after he kind of got let go by Seattle. Him and a bunch of old Seahawks players, they all got together. One of the guys there was Tyler Lockett. And when you just think about players that ride or die for their coaches, Lockett's career, he owes a great deal to Pete Carroll. So the connection is absolutely positively there. Here's your opportunity, though, to call the shots. Sign or pass. If you got to sit down in a room with John Spytek and Pete Carroll, I hope you'd say a few other things besides this question, if I'm being honest with you. Type sign, type pass down below. Would you want the Raiders to sign Tyler Lockett? The only reason why I'm going to sit up here and I'm actually going to say pass. I'm going to say pass because we're a 2-5 football team that I don't really think needs to go out and add a older receiver. I would want the Raiders to play some of their younger guys. Though, one of my things that I want to be able to do today is I wanted to look at both sides of the coin because I think it's what the Raiders have to do because I think it's what Pete Carroll's doing. If the Raiders didn't want to go out and sign him, here's why you don't do it. It's a rebuild, and you're better off playing your younger guys. I would rather you give more reps to Jack Besh. I would rather you give more reps to Dante Thornton Jr. instead of giving those reps to Tyler Lockett. Though, if another Carroll guy ended up coming in and wasn't a good fit, I'm telling you right now, wouldn't go well in that locker room. And I'll also say, even if it was for a cheap contract, save your money. Because you know what you should have done? Instead of using the dollars and cents that you did going out and getting Amari Cooper, the dollars and cents that you're doing here for Tyler Lockett, what you should have done this offseason is extended Jakobi Meyers. Though, here's why I think if the Raiders wanted to do it, here's why I think that they would do it. Jakobi Meyers is likely to be traded this offseason, and I am recording this video on Tuesday. We know that the Raiders need wide receiver depth, and Jakobi has already made it clear. He wants to be traded by the Las Vegas Raiders. Geno's struggling. Chip Kelly's struggling. And maybe you're like, well, if I bring in a guy that's got chemistry with Geno, that can get Geno looking like the guy that I saw in Seattle. The Raiders, they wanted a veteran when they went out and signed Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper was too fat, and he quit on the team. Maybe Tyler Lockett wouldn't quit on the Raiders, though He's literally quitting on the Tennessee Titans right now. I don't want y'all to never, ever miss a moment. I know we put out a lot of content. I know we put out more content than anybody else on the planet around the silver and black, and we've put out a video every single day on this show for the last 7 years. It's a crazy stat, but it is true. If the Raiders go out and they sign Lockett, I will go live. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on, and I never want you to miss a video. People that I know will be here if that ends up happening. People that are part of the Noti gang. If you don't know what the Noti gang is, these are the legends, the OGs, the real ones that not only are subscribed, it's as soon as I drop a video, they get in the comment section and they're trying to interact with me. So shout out to Early Riser, shout out to Serge, Alex, Bay Raider, and Anthony Aguirre. I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate all of y'all. I think also real ones love NFL news. And again, I am recording this video on a Tuesday, so this is more information for my live audience. The Raiders worked out a running back today named Israel Abanikanda. Sorry that I butchered it. Who? Abakanda. All right, we'll go with that one. They also worked out wide receiver McCole Hardman, Hal Presley. They signed DJ Turner and Layden Robinson. But clearly, the Raiders were trying to work out some players. Coming up next here on the show, I'm going to tell you why Tyler Lockett news continues to impact the Raiders and why it could actually impact a Jakobi Meyers trade. Before I get into that, though, today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. I talk about PrizePicks so much that even the other day when my dog Chuck was watching the show, we put it on TV for him when we end up leaving the house. I literally go, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. My wife looked at me and goes, well, you and I make decisions every day. And she's right. But on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. You can join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 fantasy sports app out there. And they also have this brand new feature. If you actually wanted to follow me on PrizePicks, you could actually do it. Follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineup in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button, check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on PrizePicks. If you want to see my lineup that I have for Thursday Night Football, I do have one. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right, and if you want to know what to do right now, this is my favorite time of the year with football, with baseball, with basketball. Right now, for all y'all Warriors fans out there, the deal right now on PrizePicks is Steph Curry, half a point. Take the more on that, build a lineup, and you can do that on PrizePicks. That link is available to all of y'all down in the comments and down in the description of today's program. Let's go to continuously here, why the Tyler Lockett news impacts the Las Vegas Raiders. And if there's one position, if you were to ask me, Mitch, what do I think is the #1 position right now, creating the most headlines, getting the most trade rumors, it's the wide receiver position. And it's the wide receiver position because it is a big team need on a lot of teams that are looking to buy, whether it's due to injuries, whether it's just not quality depth, or they're trying to get more out of their quarterback. But here's the thing. I do think that Lockett is going to have plenty of suitors because of the amount of teams that are looking to trade for a receiver. You know, if you were a team going, well, a potential team looking at Jakobi Meyers, and you're like, well, maybe instead of going out and trading for Jakobi, I just signed Tyler Lockett. I'm not saying that Tyler Lockett and Jakobi Meyers are the same receiver. Jakobi is light years better than what Lockett is right now. But clearly, he doesn't want to play for a bad team. And the fact that he doesn't want to play for a bad team like the Titans tells me, why would he want to play for the Las Vegas Raiders? So my biggest concern in this is he's going to have plenty of suitors. This might lower the overall value for the Raiders of what they might be able to get in a Jakobi Meyers trade, and I really do not think that Lockett wants to come here. Why? Because we're not a good football team right now, and he just has to be released by the Tennessee Titans. So to me, the final reason and the final why, so why the Lockett news impacts the Raiders, it's the Jakobi Meyers trade. I will continuously say up here that I do not believe that Jakobi plays another snap with the Raiders. I know that he wants to be traded. You know that he wants to be traded. But more teams that are on Jakobi, the better. And my fear is, one, let's just say there are 7 teams right now. Okay? Let's just play a little bit of a game here. Let's say there's 7 teams that have at least called the Raiders about Jakobi. Even if you wanted to say, Mitch, that's a lot. Let's play 3 teams. Let's say 3 teams have picked up the phone. Let's say Patriots, the New York Giants. You can insert any other team that you want. Pittsburgh Steelers. They said, hey, what do you want for Jakobi Meyers? What if one of those 3 teams instantly got out of the race, signed Tyler Lockett? More competition means higher price tag for the Raiders, means more compensation in that trade that ends up going down. The point of this video for me is this. The more teams that are interested in Jakobi Meyers, the better price tag that we're going to get in a trade. As soon as that competition for Jakobi goes down a little bit and a free agent receiver like Tyler Lockett might be able to take away one of those potential suitors, that to me means bad news for the Las Vegas Raiders, which is why I do think that even if Tyler Lockett doesn't go to this Raiders team, I don't think that he's going to go to this Raiders team. I do think that it could impact our overall ability to maybe instead of getting a 4th-round comp, what if the Raiders just settled for a 5th because they wanted to move on from Jakobi and Jakobi wanted to move on from them? That scares me, but we'll see what ends up happening. Now, again, y'all, anytime information ends up going down, I hope that you guys know I have a lot of other content out there at Mitchell Renz 365. And if you also want to get to know me on a more personal level, one of the things that I want to try to do a better job of is posting my personal life. And if you don't want my personal life, then yeah, don't follow me on IG. But my wife, man, she posted this really amazing video from our whole wedding weekend. Videos of me, videos of her, videos of our dog Chuck. I want y'all to get to know me because the more you get to know me, the more and more our relationship can continue to grow here on the Raiders Report. And I do truly believe we are so much more than a YouTube channel. We've been able to build a beautiful community here, and I want to keep that community growing. All right, we're going to have a little bit of fun here because we got our Tuna's Top 5 coming up here on the show. And again, if you want to get your questions, comments here on the program, it's #Raiders, or you can super chat to skip the line. What is your favorite Halloween movie? Coming up here in our Tuna's Top 5, Chugs' Top 5 Halloween movies. No? You're not doing it?
I'll show you.
Okay. I actually don't know it then. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I don't know what he's got for me. To the 800 people here in the building, if you haven't already, make sure you guys click that like button. To Sober King, go sign Russell Wilson. Well,
dude, him clapping back at Sean Payton, though.
I'm surprised, but I respect it.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, you don't usually see Russell Wilson do, like, or kind of say those kind of things or come out and really be that outspoken, but, I mean, hey.
Sorry, I was more just writing notes for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on me. Favorite Halloween movie? I see The Exorcist from the Debuk box.
The Lion King.
The Lion King? Is that a Halloween movie? Somebody said Monsters, Inc. Is that a Halloween movie? I don't think that that's a Halloween movie. Where's Reed? That's crazy. Evil Dead, Showgirls, It's Terrifying, Friday the 13th, The Ring. Here's the thing. I don't watch any scary movies. Mike Nintendo Master says it has monsters in it. I just don't think Monsters, Inc.'s a Halloween movie.
Yeah. Sinister, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. Pete Flores, last time we had a good player from the Raiders retire with the Raiders other than Janikowski in 2019, they trade away every potential franchise player. Yeah, I mean,
Colt Miller. I think Colt Miller's going to retire, Raider. At least I'm hoping, right? They just extended him. I hope that he does. And former first-round pick, Colt Miller. I don't know if
Rebel
you're asking
wants
me a
to know,
question.
does the Raiders season count?
For what?
For the favorite Halloween movie.
It's not a favorite of mine. I mean, it's a horror movie. I don't want to watch it anymore, though. I'll tell you that. I want to get the hell out of here. The Weldinator! Bang! Well, I'm starting Thursday night football off with a beer boot. Can anybody guess what beer the Weldinator picked? Can anybody guess what the Weldinator picked?
Welder's Ale.
The Weldinator says, bang,
bang,
bang.
Also, Born a Raiders fan said, you can't take any stock in Wingo.
Trey Wingo report means nothing. You know, I don't think that it means nothing, and the only reason why I say that, I think Trey Wingo's source is Adam Schefter. I think it's people from ESPN, and you know, maybe somebody relates something to Schefter because Schefter put out a report about the Cowboys being active, and literally like 2 minutes later, Trey Wingo said what he did. So, it's a lot of he said, she said, but I also know this. Trey Wingo, if there's one thing that guy's trying to do right now, he's trying to generate some buzz around his own name, right? Like he's trying to get people to come to view him, get his own eyeballs. The trick is you put anything Cowboys related, and it's typically going to happen. But I'm not going to totally disagree with you, born a Raiders fan. We already kind of talked about it a little bit on the show. I already put out a video on it that I do not think that Crosby's traded, and you know we've kind of already discussed it. But my job also up here is when there's rumors out there, let's talk about them. So let's talk about them. Oh, my God. Is this what I think it is?
Jack Lauderay, our movie guy here at Chat Sports, he gave me his top 5 Halloween movies.
Okay.
Because I couldn't think of any, and I was like, let me just ask our movie guy.
All right, fair enough.
Here's Jack Lauderay here at Chat Sports. He also does movie critiques.
Mm-hmm.
So this is his top 5 Halloween movies. So if you want to roast anybody, hit him up on X.
It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. See, I have a feel like I'm not shocked at all that Jack picked this. I don't know what to think. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm seeing number 4 roll in here. I'm not loving it.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Number 3?
Ghostbusters.
Oh, God, Jack. All right, 2. Beetlejuice is good.
Beetlejuice.
I'm all right with that one. What's number 1? All right, yeah, Halloween. Fair. All right. I was hoping for some Halloween movies. I don't know.
What? These are all Halloween movies.
I think Halloween and Beetlejuice are Halloween movies.
Nightmare Before Christmas?
Is it?
That's the whole point. It's like all the Halloween characters.
All right. I don't know. I just don't watch a lot of movies. I guess I was thinking more like scary movies.
Like what?
I don't know. Freddy Krueger? That guy seems pretty scary.
Do you watch scary movies?
No. Rustin Long. All right. Grade this top 5.
Chatha says Charlie Brown goated. Don't hate.
I'm not good. I guess my biggest problem, I just don't watch a lot of movies. So I expected to see more where I was like, all right, it's definitely that one. Rustin's not a fan. Blinky, not a fan. A guy that knives. Oh, I don't know what that means.
Oh, I think he was talking about Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands. 67 out of 100.
Dude, Horror Fanatics, Lance. I don't even know. I don't want to look up that movie.
I was just gonna say though Horror Fanatic Lance probably would be a good person to ask, but based on that title alone, that looks like one I got to delete my history after.
Yeah,
that's one I'm not gonna fall for that one. Not gonna fall for that one.
Halloween Town. That would have been mine in my top 5 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Halloween's got to be on there. Halloween Town. Actually, that's a great one. I actually think that's probably Alex's number 1 Halloween movie. Halloween Town.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or no, actually, that's not it. What's the one with the 3 witches?
Oh no, that's not Halloween Town. That is.
What is that?
Why can't I think about it right now? Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus. Yep. That's Alex's number 1. Hocus Pocus is that. Yep. All right. You guys ready to go to the next segment? You guys ready to go? Next segment here on the Raiders Report?
I'll let Jack know.
Yeah, you just let Jack know everyone loved it. Because I'm worried if you tell him anything different, he's not going to be happy. Simon T.G. said, Mitch, can I get in that duck race? Simon, I got you. To the Weldinator, I got you in as well. Right now,
Stabler said scary movies 1 through 5. Those are so funny.
Oh.
I used to think those were the funniest movies ever as a kid.
Sashimi.
Kawasaki.
Dude, I'm
Shane.
strong. That's my strong hand. Who is this? No, is that Madden? Trade coaching staff and Tom Brady to the White Sox for Isiro Tanaka for Major League. I don't have an answer to this. I have no idea.
People were upset with those two, and then not enough. They wanted more horror.
Of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Jack's going to explain his Tuna's top 5 here.
Hello, Raider Nation. Okay, so in regards to the horror, I'm not a horror fan at all. Actually, these should all be flipped. So I gave them in order 1 to 5.
Oh.
I'm not going to lie, that might be bad. That might be worse for you.
That
that might be worse.
Well, I mean, they're my top 5.
All right.
It's actually flipped. It should be 1 to 5. Because I love It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I love that so much. I'm not a horror guy at all. So that's the first thing.
All right.
I'm
You
not
got to
a
explain
horror
it, though.
What?
You said you're going to explain it. You've taken a knee, and
No. So they said they didn't like No Hocus Pocus and No Halloween Town, and they said that there wasn't enough horror. So point number 1, not a horror guy. That's why there's not a lot of horror on this list.
What about the Hocus Pocus and Halloween Town?
I like them both. I think they're good movies. I just think that those 5 are the ones that I go back to the most.
Mitch was saying he doesn't think Ghostbusters is a Halloween.
I mean, it's all up to interpretation, you know?
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Emphatically, yes.
Okay.
People were saying, where's Gremlins?
Not my favorite.
I think that's a little bit before our time.
A little bit. I mean, listen, man. I don't watch a lot of
Jaws
scary
is
movies.
not a Halloween.
Jaws isn't a Halloween movie. That's just a horror movie.
Shark Week.
It's shark movie.
I can get down with that. Beetlejuice,
Like, I think-
I'm fine with.
I think all 5 of those are Halloween movies.
Okay.
Movies you would watch pretty much exclusively at Halloween.
What about Scooby-Doo 2?
Ghostbusters?
Voodoo Island?
Ghostbusters, you could argue, but the other 4 you watch at Halloween.
Sneaky one.
See,
the
Freddy,
live-action Scooby-Doo movie.
Freddy Krueger, not on there.
Again, not a
Horror
huge
guy.
horror guy.
All right, fair enough.
The fact that I have Halloween in there at all
Well,
is like
to me with
that's classic.
with
though.
Ashton Genty and the Michael Myers stance, I think you gotta get it in there. Joe Milton coming to Las Vegas Raiders soon.
What's new, Scooby-Doo? I'm coming after you.
I mean, the only reason why I would think that this would be fun to talk about would be just because it's a trade and it'd be fun to talk about. But I would be shocked if Joe Milton was coming to the Raiders. I don't think it makes any sense. What is he going to do?
It's like a broken ATM. Doesn't make any sense.
There you go. Doesn't make any sense. No, I'll tell you this. It'd be fun to talk about. Because then if you're the Raiders, you got Geno Smith, Kenny Pickett, Joe Milton, Aidan O'Connell. And here's the thing. The fan base wouldn't know who to start. The debates we would get into again, all we would talk about, I'm telling you, is quarterbacks. That's all we would talk about.
All right, Mitchell.
And on that note, I see bring in Shedeur Sanders. So I think it's at that point where we're going to get into the final segment here on today's episode. Friendly reminder, as soon as we are done with this segment, we are then going to do a duck race, which right now you have the opportunity to win $110 here on today's show. Okay? Here on today's show, right now you have a chance to win $110. I'm going to guess that it's going to be a little bit more by the next time that I talk about it. Yep, I'm ready. You guys ready? Coming up here, let's talk about some Raiders trade candidates and the November 4th deadline. Oh, okay. Sounds good. I want you all to hit that subscribe button because we're going to be live all day for the NFL trade deadline on November 4th. Reports indicate that the Raiders, they could be buyers and they could be sellers. But today's show is all about the Raiders selling, and today is all about the top Raiders trade candidates. I wouldn't trade Raider Nation for anything, and if you agree with that statement, make sure you subscribe. My name is Mitchell Renz. You're watching the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, we're going to discuss the top Raiders trade candidates before the 2025 NFL trade deadline. The way that I wanted to do this today is I thought about ranking them, but I really truly only feel like in my heart of hearts there's one guy that I'll sit up here and I'll say that I think ends up getting dealt, and everybody knows who it is, Jakobi Meyers. But to me, I'm going to throw out 8 names, and I'm not saying that the Raiders are shopping these guys. For the Raiders, they're a 2-5 football team. The 8 players that you're going to see on today's show, 4 on offense, 4 on defense, are players that, if there's other teams out there looking to win, these are the players that I would pick up the phone and call the Raiders about. Let's go to the very first name here on defense. Yes, we're going to start on the defensive side of the football today, which I typically do not do. Adam Butler will be the first name that I bring up here at defensive tackle. The reason why Butler's on this show, I don't want the Raiders to move on from him. I think he's arguably your best defensive tackle, though he hasn't played nearly as well this season as what I was hoping for when the Raiders brought him back. He's 31 years old. He signed that 3-year extension this offseason. The one issue that people might have in trading away Adam Butler is the Raiders have already paid his 2026 season. Now, some of you would go, well, that's dumb to trade him away if we've already paid it. I mean, it's like $3-4 million. It's not a lot of money. So if you're the Raiders and you're like, could I get a higher draft pick? If a team would be like, oh, I'm basically getting a free Adam Butler, could this regime decide to do it? Because you drafted J.J. Pegues. You drafted Tonka Hemingway. So for all of those reasons out there, and teams are always looking for interior defensive lineman help, that's why I'm going to put Adam Butler on this list, though I think there's a very small chance that he actually ends up getting dealt. Let's go to the next player here. It's going to be Tyree Wilson. And if you didn't think that Wilson's name was going to be on this show, you probably have been underneath a rock, and you probably haven't been watching this program for all that long. I wish the Raiders would play Tyree at defensive tackle a little bit more than a defensive end, and maybe that's just never going to happen. He showed some flashes this season of some good. He's also shown some flashes of, you're like, damn it, Tyree, figure it out, man. But he was drafted 7th overall in the 2023 NFL draft by Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, so he's had to deal with, multiple different regimes. I mean, the Pete Carroll regime is his 3rd different regime in 3 years. So I know that this team's not going to be picking up his 5th-year option, and the deciding factor for the Raiders will be this offseason. They have to decide before, I think it's like May, and that they're not going to do that 5th-year option. I also will sit up here and I'll say this. If Tyree Wilson still looks the way that he does after working 3 years with Rob Leonard, one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL, I'm not sure if anyone's going to be able to get the most out of him. So because of that, people will look at the upside. Because people see the upside of that 7th overall pick, that's why you could see the Raiders move on from him. Now today, it's all about trades. Moving on from certain players. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. If the Raiders make only one trade, who ends up getting traded? My answer coming up here after this YouTube ad break. If only one trade ends up going down, the name to watch is Jakobi Meyers. I'll also say this, though. I think that the other name to watch if a trade goes down, Jackson Powers-Johnson. Not that I want the Raiders to move on from JPJ, but there's a lot of teams that need interior offensive lineman help, and the Raiders clearly have a vendetta against him. Let's go to another defensive player. It's going to be Malcolm Kuntz at the defensive end position, and some of you are going to be like, Mitch, why are you trying to trade away our entire defensive line? I'm not trying to trade away our defensive line, but let's face the facts here. There's nobody from our linebackers that anybody's going to want to trade for. There's not a cornerback on our team that anybody's going to want to trade for. There's not a single safety outside of Jeremy Chin. We ain't moving on from him that anybody's going to go out there and try to trade for. What do teams always look for? Players that help get after the quarterback. And Malcolm Kuntz was a hot commodity this offseason in free agency. There were some people that thought that he could get $20 million a year. Now, the Raiders, they signed him to that 1-year extension, and he struggled this season. He hasn't looked nearly as good. He's going to be a free agent in the offseason. But for a guy like Kuntz, if I was Kuntz's agent, I would sit here and I'd go, I'm a young player coming off an ACL where I got to learn a brand new regime yet again, and it's not a me problem. It's a Raiders problem. And I do think that there would be a lot of people out there, especially organizations, that would probably go, yeah, I could probably see why it's a Raiders problem. And I don't know what you'd get for Malcolm. I would want probably a 6th-round pick, a 5th-round pick for him. And if you're like, oh, my God, that's all we're going to get, that's probably all you're going to get for Malcolm Kuntz. Let's go to the final name here, and it's the biggest one, Maxx Crosby. I do not think that the Raiders will trade away Maxx. According to Ricky Scoops, the Raiders also will not be moving on from Mad Max. Here's the problem, though. The number one player that all 31 NFL teams would want to trade for from the Raiders, the 2-5 Raiders, it's number 98. It's the Condor. And the reason also why it's being discussed is because of the contract that Crosby signed this offseason. He front-loaded it, and him and his agent, they made it easier for the Raiders to be able to trade him away. Now, I was told by a source that a trade would happen with Crosby if one ever were to happen. It wouldn't happen until 2026 or 2027, just again, based on the way that that deal is made. But everything that I'm being told, Crosby ain't going to go anywhere. But the idea of this show is just to outline some players that could potentially be on the move or that could get interest from other teams. Crosby's going to get interest from all 31 teams. Why? The Raiders are 2-5, and we stink right now. Coming up next here, though, on the show, let's talk about some of these trade candidates on the offensive side of the football, because I do really think if a trade were to happen, it would be more on the defensive side of the football with all the struggles that we've been having with Chip Kelly, and Pete is more of a defensive-minded guy. Before I get into some of those offensive names, today's show sponsored by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. All you got to do is pick, predict, and play. America's #1 fantasy sports app out there. And Prize Picks, it's the best place to win cash while watching sports. Whether you're watching football, whether you're watching basketball, whether you're watching baseball, hockey, I don't care what it is. Join millions of users and sign up today. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right, and I do really, really mean this. I hope that you guys always take advantage of every sponsor that we talk about. When you show love to them, it only helps us out. That link is going to be available all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Let's go to the offensive side of the football. The first name that you're going to see might be a little bit jarring, Yoda Jenkins. It is Aidan O'Connell. And some of you are going to go, Mitch, Aidan is on IR. We're not going to trade him anyway. Here's the issue that the Raiders and Geno and Pete Carroll are going to run into. The moment, and I mean it, the moment the Raiders make Aidan O'Connell healthy, the amount of fans that are already begging Raider Nation, already begging me, already begging Pete Carroll to start AOC over Geno Smith, it's going to be loud. And one of the biggest reasons why the Raiders passed on Shedeur Sanders in the draft was because this was a team that wanted everybody to buy in to Geno Smith. They traded for Geno. They extended Geno. Obviously, Geno's been a dumpster fire. But the Raiders also went out and they traded for Kenny Pickett. If Geno Smith gets benched, it's going to be Kenny Pickett time. If Kenny Pickett is bad, they will go back to Geno Smith. It will not be Aidan O'Connell. And because AOC is a really good quarterback 3, well, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't even be against doing an actual competition. But if you think Pete Carroll is benching Geno Smith for Aidan O'Connell, I got another thing coming for you. So I would say there's probably going to be a team looking for a backup quarterback, and if Aidan O'Connell could fill that need for a 7th-round pick, I do honestly think that the Raiders would take advantage of it. Let's go to another play here on the trade block, potentially. Offensive guard, Dylan Parham. And Parham was drafted in 2022 by the Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler regime, and he was an offensive lineman that when the Raiders drafted him, I actually thought that this was going to be our future at center because I thought he was a really good player in terms of being able to figure out, what's being presented to him. He's done a much better job over the past few weeks at left guard, but here's the thing. He's in the final year of his contract, and whether you like Parham or not, that's totally up to you, but I do think teams value his versatility. And if you're a team, honestly, we're talking to Chugs here, if you're a team like the Houston Texans, and you're sitting back and you're like, holy shit, I got 4 offensive linemen that are terrible. Could I go out and get an offensive lineman that can play left guard, that can play center, that can play right guard, that can play right tackle? That's kind of what Dylan Parham is. And I'm not saying that he would be a starter on all 32 NFL teams because I don't think that he would be. But all 32 teams would have value in Parham because, again, of the depth that he helps you provide from an offensive line standpoint. And then the other part, you drafted Caleb Rogers in the 3rd round, and you drafted Charles Grant. I talked to a source probably about a week ago that kind of told me, there are some people inside that organization that don't know if Charles Grant is going to be the left tackle. There are some people that are wondering, could he play guard? And That's a question that needs to remain to be seen. I personally think that he can play tackle. You're just going to have to let him develop here a little bit. But if you were Las Vegas and you were sitting back there and you're like, well, what if I traded Dylan Parham now, got a 6th-round pick in return for him? Could I use one of my young players that I drafted in the 3rd round? It is a potential to throw out there, and that's why Dylan Parham is on this list. Coming up here, though, I think I got the 2 biggest trade candidates on this show. And I already mentioned them. You're going to hear me talk about them a little bit more in length, but I will say this. At the end of the day, people that watch this show, even when the Raiders are bad, I call them real ones. If you don't know what a real one is here, a real one at Chat Sports is somebody, you know how Raider Nation always screams, Raider Nation for life? We got a saying here at Chat Sports, real one for life. These are people that watch all the videos that I drop. These are people that comment on every single video that I drop. And you might not believe it, but I am in the comment section way, way more often than what y'all realize. Why? If you spend time watching videos that I make, I'm going to spend time looking at what you guys have to say. It's what friends do. It's what families do. It's what real ones do. So to Ben, Wide, Rudy, Jesus, and Raider Tone, thank you guys so much for always being real ones. And if you want to see yourself on a future show, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're commenting on the videos, and make sure I see you. Because the more you comment, the more I see your name, the better chance you got getting a shout-out on the program. Let's go to another offensive lineman here. It's going to be JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson. I'll tell you this right now. Out of all the players not named Maxx Crosby, the number 1 player that would make me lose a gasket if traded, JPJ. Why? I think he is a building block player. I think he's exactly the perfect player that you have on your roster if you draft a running back like Ashton Genty. I think he's the best center we have. For whatever reason, though, this organization does not seem to value him. For whatever reason, Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, they are only making Jackson Powers Johnson compete, and nobody else on that offensive line has to compete. I don't know why they don't like him. I don't know what the story is. I have reached out to multiple members of the Jackson Powers Johnson family just asking for any type of intel. I have not gotten anything. And I do wonder if, because I haven't gotten anything, does that actually mean that something is going on? But the Raiders, again, drafted Caleb Rogers. They drafted Charles Grant. And I do wonder, after the benching week 7 for Alex Kappa, who is a John Spytek guy, could there be a team out there that goes, well, I'll trade you for JPJ? Because I personally, if you wanted to trade away JPJ, if somebody asked me what I would want a 2nd-round pick for him. I think if you were to ask John Spytek and Pete Carroll, I think they'd go 5th-round pick. And because there's such a big difference there in the way that we value them compared to the way that they value them, that, to me, sounds like a deal that another team could potentially take. But if you agree with this statement here, I hope that you hit that like button, and that's what a real one would do. If you would be pissed, mad, angry, disappointed, fill in the synonym down below. If the Raiders traded away JPJ, I'm going to warn you right now, you're going to hear some F words, and they're not the good effing kind. The final trade candidate here is the number 1 name on this show. It's Jakobi Meyers. And you know, I saw the reports earlier on Tuesday. I saw the rumors on Monday. He didn't play against the Kansas City Chiefs. It is clear. Jakobi Meyers wants to be traded away from the Raiders. I was told that I don't think that he's ever going to play another snap for the Raiders, so that's kind of what I've been going with here. But here's the other thing. He did also say that he's a professional, and he knows that if the Raiders don't trade him away, he's still got to go out there and he's got to play football games. So he's looking at, he wants to get traded. He wants a new contract. He didn't play week 7 against the Kansas City Chiefs. There are multiple, and I mean multiple teams interested. If you watch this show and you're like, Mitch, why do you do these shows if the Raiders never make any trades? I think that there is a much greater chance. I think there's honestly a 3 just win baby chance, a 90% chance, if you will, that Jakobi Meyers is traded before that November 4th deadline. So one more time here, these to me are the top candidates for the Las Vegas Raiders to be dealt. If you could help this show grow, take a screenshot, post a pic on Instagram. Make sure you tag me at Mitchell Renz 365. If I see that you guys do that on Thursday, I'll do my best to also share it to give you guys a little bit of love. Voice your opinion. If the Raiders make only one trade, who ends up getting traded? Let me know down below.
JPJ to the Texans.
I mean, I said it to you earlier today. I think if the Texans offered the Raiders a 4th-round pick, they would do it. I honestly do. And I'd be pissed about it, but I think that they would do it. I think JPJ down in Houston would fix a lot of problems. I really do. I really, really do. I'm seeing JMs for Jakobi from Dez, Sober King, Phil, Prab. Key says Meyers will be the one to go. And I think we all agree on that.
I mean,
oh my God, look at these NBA contracts. The NBA's biggest earners of 2025. Steph Curry, $159.6 mil. How is that right? Is that just like endorsement deals plus contract?
probably.
That's craziness, man.
He's number one.
He's number one. Can you guess number two?
LeBron.
LeBron, 137.6. Can you guess number three?
Luka.
No, he is playing in a game tonight, though, that you're covering.
KD.
Kevin Durant, 104.
Probably because of the Nike deal.
I was going to say, this has to be like deals with, yep, on court plus endorsements. Wild. Wild, 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 man. Stabler for president, my top five. Scary
Is Giannis
movie.
in there?
Who?
Giannis?
Yep. Giannis is there at number 4, 99.1.
Thinking of people with signature shoes.
Number 5,
Is he playing tonight?
he is injured, actually.
Oh, is it AD?
No. One of our guys loves him here at Chat Sports.
Oh, Jason Tatum.
Yep, bingo. AD is number 6. Number 7, Joel Embiid. Number 8, Jimmy Butler. Number 9, SGA. Number 10, Nikola Jovic.
Ah.
Rich Wolf, Scary Godmother, a classic Halloween movie as a kid. Scary Godmother? I don't know if I know that one. Scary Godmother? Am I tripping? Because that ain't ringing a bell. I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I've never heard of this movie. Scary Godmother. Halloween Spooktacular is what it's telling me.
Ooh.
The movie was made in 1997. All right, fair enough. All right, y'all. Final call to get in our duck race here. Final call. I just saw Gabriel Ruiz get in, which means right now it's a $20 Venmo to go home with $120. 20 to win, 120. What do you think? What do you think? What are we doing? What are we doing? Can everyone also, before we get out of here today, can everyone give a huge shout out to the Weldinator? Because not only did the Weldinator get shit wild last night on Monday Night Football, got shit wild today, and he's going to get the party started on Thursday Night Football. If you don't know what I'm doing on Thursday Night Football this week, it's the Chargers game, so that's cool. We're going to be rooting for the Vikings, Chargers. I have to do a 4 Loco, which is not going to be a good thing for me, and I'm going to start the show off with a boot. Not going to tell you what boot it is. That's unless the Weldinator wants to let you know. Unless the Weldinator wants to let you know. Also, everyone say goodbye to Chugs. Chugs is going to get ready to go live for the Rockets game. As soon as this live show ends, you don't have to go anywhere. There was a few people asking for you today. Soon as the show ends, you don't have to go anywhere because this whole setup is just going to direct you right over to his live stream.
Ooh.
Did you? I thought you did.
Oh.
Sorry, I thought you did it. I misunderstood you then. Okay, sounds good.
Well, I can redirect it. Yeah. I'll redirect it. So you guys don't have to do anything. You guys can just let it go. Let it go. Yeah, so once it ends. Let me do that right now. Actually, we can do it I'll do it while the
Well, here, let me look.
While
Final call to get in the duck race.
Final call.
Can you add the Night Devil?
Of course.
Twice. No, I'm telling you this right
This
now,
is,
Night Devil. If you win, bro, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to laugh if you win. Wolverine. Where did you get that hat? The company's name, it's like Redemption. He's on Instagram. He sent me a bunch of hats, and honestly, for a while there, it was like one of my favorite hat companies that was made by the Raiders. I wanted to work with them. I don't know why we never actually
He's
did.
twice. Let me shuffle.
Who?
Night Devil.
Yeah, get a good shuff in there.
I did it twice.
Get a good shuff in there. Can you add John Polito?
Sure.
Sorry, one more.
No prob.
One more.
Who is it?
John P. How about that?
John P.
John P. You in?
All right, now we have to shuffle again because John goes to the top there.
Yep.
Shuffle.
Ready?
I'm ready.
You guys ready? Winner of this going home with $150 starting at 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Winner going home, 150 doll hairs. Guess who was back today?
Weldinator.
The Weldinator.
Of course.
3 bangs, and I got to do a boot to start off Thursday Night Football.
Hell yeah.
You want to guess what beer he picked? Or am I distracting you while you're putting that link in? Probably
Bud
am.
Light.
Nope, close. Richard Engel.
What do we got?
Simon T.G. It begins with an S. The Wellinator. Sorry, bro. Mendez. Right now, Richard Engel's
Sam
got
Adams.
the lead. Nope. Mendez is going to be my prediction. Though the Night Devil falling back here a little bit. Jim Brown falling back here a little bit. Night Devil does have the lead. Watch out for Rustin Long. Watch out for Rustin Long.
Rustin!
Is he going to pull away? Is it the Weldinator? Jim Brown. It's going to be Rustin Long.
Rustin Long.
The long way.
The long way.
Rustin the long way. Rustin, if you could please confirm with everybody down below that you just received 150 doll hairs, that would be much appreciated.
Much.
Shout out to my guy, Rustin Long, one of the O'est of G's. Can't Control Life, Jake Sir, Ron Raspberry, Yoda Jenkins. Shout out to all y'all Weldinator. Don't say, I thought you said thanks.
The redirect has been added.
The redirect, the reach around has been added. All right, y'all. So here's what's going to happen to the 520 people that are still here with us right now. I'm getting ready to hop on out of here. I greatly appreciate each and every one of y'all that always tune into the show. I know the Raiders are not a good football team. I should probably quit saying it because everyone knows it. But I love that people don't give up on this program. And no matter what, I promise you, we will make this show fun. Even if the Raiders aren't playing good football, we're going to find ways to make this show fun. And I hope that if you have spare time on a Thursday night, you pull up to a Thursday Night Football watch party. I hope if you're sitting there frustrated after a Raiders loss on a Monday, you pull up at noon, or technically it's 1 p.m. Eastern time, and we talk about the Raiders and we vent our frustrations. I hope you pull up every Tuesday. Hope you pull up every game day, because I'm going to be here. And I would not trade Raider Nation for anything, and I hope that you wouldn't trade us for anything as well. From me, Chug's not here anymore. Shout out to Chugs. Shout out to Reed for stepping in. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And as soon as this video ends, it's going to take you to Jeremy Chugs' live stream where he's going to be live for the Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder? Rockets? What you got? Rockets?
I got the Rockets.
Rockets? All right.
Give me the Rockets.
All right, F it.
Go Chugs.
I'll do it for Chugs. Let's go, Rockets. Peace out, y'all. I'll see you guys live Thursday Night Football here on the Raiders Report.